Oh, hey bitch. Oh, excuse you. Baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry Annie. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Hey y'all, welcome to Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Happy Wednesday. We're basically a show where we talk about all things going on in pop culture and hot topics. So that is a show for you. I'm like, what is going on? I almost forgot how to do the show for a second. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, let me check my camera. Oh, I know. Because I was like, why it looks so weird? Oh, because I had it on something else, mirror my camera. But anyway, we got quite a few topics to get into today, including we got to talk about Jason Collins, the first openly homosexual NBA player, passed away. Nick Cannon is getting to the reality TV game. This is going to be interesting. Chris Brown is throwing shade at anybody who's criticizing his new album, which he calls doo-doo. No, it's actually called Brown. And he even threw shade at Zara Larsson, who has been coming at him as of late. So now he clapping back at her. Nicole Scherzinger is weighing in on her having to cancel majority of her North American Pussycat Dolls tour dates. And Bryan Cranston is teasing this crazy Madonna appearance on the second season of the Studio season 2. Also, I got some inside tea on somebody went to a listening party, listened to a couple of songs. We'll get into that and some of the questions that people on Twitter were asking said person who was there. So, in regards of what we could expect from the album. Also, Paris Jackson scored a big victory with her fight with the Jackson estate. We'll get into that. Lizzo says that the media algorithms is basically messing up the music industry and is messing up her album promo for her new album called Bitch. Um, Olivia Rodrigo, I said, okay, now y'all out here trying to rage bait. Apparently, she's being called out somehow that she's encouraging something called um she's sexualizing infancy, which I'm like, okay, this must be something new y'all coming up with because she's wearing baby doll dresses. Mind you, Courtney Love basically mainstream baby doll dresses back in the days when she was the front singer of Hole. So I don't know where they're coming from with this mess, but we'll get into that. Plus, Kim Zolciak's boyfriend's ex-wife is going in and saying that he's out of control spending on the former RHOA star. Margaret chose revealing why she turned down appearing on Heated Rivalry. And RuPaul is out here telling us that we should just party and dance and play games and all that stuff in the face of fascism. That's what we should be doing instead of standing up and fighting for, our democracy because we love America. But this is what he's saying. And I got a couple of people who decided who are with him and against him, including Lady Bunny went in and let have. So we have all that and a whole lot more. So before we get to those topics, if you please do me a solid, hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. We also have super chats, super stickers. You can donate if you like, but if you don't want to send a little coin total, which would be greatly appreciated, it definitely helps if you hit the like and subscribe and the notification and you hype the channel and share it with your people and all that good stuff. Please and thank you. Now, without further ado, hold on. Let me hit y'all comments. I ain't gonna forget like I did yesterday. um, I didn't watch this. I didn't hear the song yet. I've been so busy trying to put this damn show together, and then on top of that, I was catching up on a lot of my political stuff. So, yeah, I didn't get to watch the song yet. But I did add myself to the waiting list to get tickets for Tove's upcoming tour, which I believe goes on sale Monday. So I'm in the room. So I'm waiting on to do that. You tried it. And you said Zara Larsson, all independent artists are doing Swedish acts justice where Robin failed. Well, what do you think she failed at? Or how do you think she failed? I just feel like she failed because she didn't really push the boundaries of in the way of her bringing emotional electronic music and that whole thing with of course Call Your Girlfriend and some of the other hits and Dancing on My Own where she kind of brought like that emo ness to electronic music. We love that for her, but I just feel like she just didn't. Robin hasn't really grown as an artist since Honey. So I need her to kind of take a little more risks. I know she wants to do the I'm an older woman being sexual thing, but I'm like, that's late. But it was like, yeah, and them songs didn't really stand out. You said, "Oh, she got a new Shania Twain." Oh, Shania Twain's coming out with music, a major July release. Well, hopefully her music is. I mean, unfortunately, she's not gonna work with Mutt Lane because he was out there cheating with the neighbor or her best friend, who Shania ended up getting with the husband. This is weird how all that happens. Then she ended up with the husband of the friend who slept with her husband. It's like everybody's doing that. The what was their names? The people from Good Morning America that used to be on there did that. Now word on the street is that that's happening with Kim Zolciak, that Croy messing with the ex-wife of the husband who Kim is currently messing. I'm like, damn, y'all, is the dating pool that small? But we'll get into all of that. But what's going on with her? I heard she got arrested for a DUI. I just didn't think she was important enough to talk about. I'm like um talking about Kim Mathers. That is so 2000. Or talking about her. I love Robin, but this latest album could have been. Yeah, I agree. I know some people talk about it's too short. The length of the album ain't got shit to do with it. It's the fact that them songs ain't really standing out to me. It's not worth a repeat listen. So I'll listen. Like if the songs come on, I'm not going to turn it away. It's just not giving me what I need amongst all these other girls. She's being kind of overshadowed in a way. But good luck to her on this upcoming tour, because you know one thing about Robin, she'll definitely turn it out on this tour, and she'll probably serve those songs via a live performance. But well, quiet as it's kept. No, we don't. But you know, whoever's part of Team Breezy, they want it. And then I saw like how many songs he has. I'm like, you doing this again? Where you got like 30 songs on one album, and anybody got time to be trying to listen to all them damn songs? Like, whittle it down. I'm not saying that you need to just put 8 tracks on the record, but 26 is doing too much. And I don't even know if that's the length, but I did see he has a lot of songs on this album. And he's been doing that a lot lately. It's like every song that you recorded demo wise don't need to be made a song. I love Robin when she's depressed. I find the album too happy. Only Kylie Minogue is the gay pros. Well, yeah, she's good at doing you know. Melanie C even went with Klaus Allen on Sweat. Yeah, I know. And she was doing Robin better than Robin. I'm not sure that, a lot of the girls be using her as a litmus test or inspired, but, you know, well, I mean, the way that they're going about with Spotify and Apple Music, isn't all that shit kind of free in a way? But anyway, speaking of which, I didn't even know Alaska from Drag Race was coming out with new music until she was on Joseph Shepard's show. I'm like, well, damn. The it'd have been nice to know that. But anyway, let me hit my banner and let's get into our first topic. Keep the comments coming, which is, unfortunately, we had to break this news. Jason Collins, who was the first openly homosexual NBA player, had passed away at age 47. He had brain cancer, so it was sad to hear this news. I remember he was sick at one point, but yeah, then I heard that he died. I'm like, damn, everybody's dying out here. I mean, even though I know death is inevitable, but so. Jason Collins, who made history as the first openly homosexual NBA player in 2014, died on Tuesday after a battle with glioblastoma, a highly aggressive form of brain cancer. Now, he was 47, saying, "We are heartbroken to share that Jason Collins, our beloved husband, son, brother, and uncle, has died after a valiant fight with glioblastoma." His family said in a statement. Now, Jason changed lives in unexpected ways and was an inspiration to all who knew him and to those who admired him from afar. We are grateful for the outpouring of love and prayers over the past 8 months and for the exceptional medical care Jason received from his doctors and nurses. Our families will miss him dearly. Now, Collins was married to film producer Brenson Green, announced he was undergoing treatment for a brain tumor in September of 2025. Now, the 7 foot, damn, he was 7 feet. The 7 foot center played 13 seasons in the NBA after being drafted in 2001, along with his twin brother, Jaron, who is currently an assistant coach with the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, Collins, a native of Los Angeles, began his career with the New Jersey Nets and played for the Minnesota Timberwolves, Atlanta Hawks, and Boston Celtics. Now, in 2014, after coming out as a homosexual the previous year, he signed as a free agent with the Nets, who had since moved the team to Brooklyn. for his final season in the NBA. Now, on Thursday evening, Collins was remembered with a moment of silence before the Timberwolves played the San Antonio Spurs for round two of the NBA playoffs. Well, child, yeah, we waiting with bated breath because, one of them is going to be playing the Knicks. um, I don't know. It's probably either Sunday or Tuesday. We'll be able to know when the Knicks are gonna be playing. But the good thing about the Knicks, look, they are well rested. I mean, I'm sure they're still in there like training and everything because you always got to train, even when you're in your seasons. But they're well rested and ready to go. So by the time they're ready to go up against whoever is a part of this NBA playoff, whoever comes out victorious, and we go up against them, at least we'll be well rested, while the other team will still be out there tired a little bit. So now they said Jason Collins' impact and influence extended far beyond basketball as he helped make the NBA, WNBA, and larger sports communities more inclusive and welcoming for future generations. This is according to NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, and this is what he said in a statement. He says he exemplified outstanding leadership and professionalism throughout his 13-year NBA career and in his dedicated work as an NBA Cares ambassador. Jason will be remembered not only for breaking barriers, but also for the kindness and humanity that defined his life and touched so many others. Now, 3 months before his death, Collins made an appearance at the NBA All Star Weekend in LA, where he volunteered at the NBA Cares All Stars Day of Service. In December of 2025, Collins opened up to ESPN about his battle with stage 4 brain cancer. Well, damn, well, yeah, when it gets to stage 4, it's like, ain't no coming back from that. He said, in May, I married the love of my life, Brenton Green, at a ceremony in Austin, Texas that couldn't have been more perfect. In August, we were supposed to go to the US Open, just as every year. But when the car came to take us to the airport, I was nowhere near ready. And for the first time in decades, we missed the flight because I couldn't stay focused to pack. He said he had been having weird symptoms for 2 months, but unless something is really wrong, I'm going to push through. I'm an athlete. Now, Collins immediately began radiation as well as a drug called Avastin to stop the tumor's rapid growth. We aren't going to sit back and let this cancer kill me without giving it a hell of a fight, he vowed. The average prognosis is only 11 to 14 months. If that's all the time I have left, I'd rather spend it trying a course of treatment that might one day be a new standard of care for everyone. Now, after I came out, he continues, someone I really respect told me that my choice to live openly could help someone who I might never meet. I held on to that for years, and if I could do that again now, then that matters. So shout out to Jason Collins, condolences to his family, and you know what? Strength in numbers. That's why I love the fact when we have the gays that come out and just be like, you know what? You can be gay, you can be an athlete, you can also be a fan of sports and be a homosexual. Like not everybody does drag and does the hula, Lion. I mean, what is it? Yeah, Lion King. um, not everybody has to do not everybody's a part of the whole stereotypical situation. There are people out here who legitimately, why is my phone just being a pain in the ass? Okay. There are people who genuinely, you know, love sports, play sports, and it just so happens that they love someone of the same gender. So, and I love the fact that the NBA is very inclusive. I mean, there aren't, I don't know any other, because I'm sure there's plenty, but I don't know any athletes that are out of the closet or willing to be coming out. And I don't want to push anybody out until they're ready. But if you say something crazy, then yeah, you're going to be out it. But I just love how inclusive the NBA is. And I just, shout out to Jason Collins because even though he came out and then he retired and stuff, he still was within the confines of the community and always gave back and all that stuff. So shout out to you, sir. And rest in peace or rest in power, as we like to say. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Jason Collins and the fact that, yeah, we lost another good one in this horrible fight of the big damn C? So whatever your thoughts are on this matter, let me know in the comments down below. Excuse me. All right, all right. So I gotta open up this window so I can read your comments. Yes, yes, rest in gay paradise or homosexual paradise. What, you hate the cancer? And you said the way Lucy O'Brien described the 4 tracks number before her to Confessions too. Outside the two we got, I'm here for it. About time she honors the iconic club that birthed her. Well, we'll get into that when we get to that topic. because I am going to talk about it. I'm going to need Lena Waithe or Tyler Perry to produce a doc. Not Tyler Perry, Chad. But I like that little slide in it, what you said with his name, to produce a documentary about this man's life and legacy. Well, yeah, I would. I mean, honestly, I'd rather Lena Waithe do it. Hmm. Well, I do want a little, I mean, we can have fun, but you could also have a little depth to your lyrics. But I just want to hit an album to give my opinion on it. I've been getting into boxing lately, possibly the most masculine sport. Okay. Well, that's probably why I was into the UFC. Because it was like, yeah, it's a masculine sport, but being around all those sweaty men. Raphael's in the building, aka Cleveland. He said he was just doing great in January, well, at least in good spirits. Cancer will take you out. Yeah, damn sure will. Warner said the album isn't best for people with heart as 8 songs have 600 beats per minute. Well, look, just make sure y'all take y'all heart medication, okay? He'll throw in somebody who, is struggling with their sexuality, got a girlfriend at home on the side, while he got his man text him, "Did you get away from her?" While she answering the phone, "Did you get away from the girl?" Remember that was with Latoya Luckett. That scene, and what was it? It was one of them shows he did, and he was denying the guy was denying that he was into her husband, and then he went and called the man went and he went and called her husband while he was having a conversation with her. "Did you get away from her yet? Did you leave her that one?" Like, you was going to go to your man, and she knew it. So we don't need none of that type of battling my sexuality. I hate being a homosexual, but I got to keep up this image. It's like, okay, Tyler, we already know that's you, that you keep trying to regurgitate in these characters and everything you do. We tired of it. Come up with something else. We need to show like there's some strong black homosexuals that like being who they are without, unapologetically. So we need somebody like a Patrick Ian Polk that could do that. Because that would seem like to be the only queer black person that was giving us that in, in his programming. I would consider myself athletic, but I would never admit that out loud. Why not? So I do enjoy the adrenaline for playing sports and being physical. I mean, look, I don't like going to the gym. I don't like the whole physical thing, but I have to do it. um, and also when I realize that it calms me if I'm when I'm like at the gym and working out and doing stuff. So he said, I have some gay friends who were not into drag. Exactly. I mean, I like drag and I like drag race because I came up in that culture, coming up in New York and being exposed to all different aspects of the situation. And then there's some that's like, yeah, they're not into the whole drag or drag race. I know plenty of people's not into that. And I'm like, that's fine. I'm not going to blow your brains out because you don't like drag or that's not your zhuzh. There's some guys that are like really stereotypically straight, like the whole ideology of what a straight man is, live a whole boring life and everything. It's like the only thing that they got in common with the gays is they like sleeping with them. That's it. They're not into the other extra stuff. But anyway, let's get to our next topic. And let's talk about Nick Cannon. So, who saw this coming? But, or maybe I kind of did, because in the back of my mind, I was like, you know what? With Nick and all them baby mamas and all them damn kids, this would make like for an interesting reality show. And lo and behold, Nick Cannon, I think Netflix did their upfronts because this is around the time where all the upfronts and stuff is starting to happen because we're in May. So all the networks, all the streaming services, everybody's announcing all the shows that are coming and getting renewed, which is why some people weren't, because when Bravo announced what's coming back and the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills wasn't included, people started thinking that, wait, is this the end of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? Because I don't know how that last season did, but I've been dragging my feet through this previous season because it's been kind of a chop, or not a chop, but it's kind of boring. I did hear that it picks up halfway, but whatever. So anyway, so one of the shows that they decided to pick up is this Nick Cannon series, which is going to be relatively interesting because I'm starting to wonder. Okay, so if it's going to deal with all of his children, All My Children. That's what they should have called it. But that was an old soap, and they might get in trouble for using it. But if they do this with this show, what's got me wondering is like, how much is Mariah gonna allow Rock and Roll to be in it? Because I know with her being extremely private and wanting people to only know what they want to know about what's going on in her life, how would she want to? I don't know if she would want to have them like. How much would their involvement be in being in the show? But anyway, so according to Variety, one of the world's most famous baby daddies is getting a Netflix docuseries to chronicle his hectic life. Nick Cannon, the actor, comedian, TV host and 12-time father, is set to star in an untitled series set to premiere in winter of 2026. The show, which appears to have at one point had the working title Cannon's House of Cards, but of course, with once upon a time there was a show from Kevin that starred Kevin Spacey called House of Cards on Netflix. That's probably why they advised against it because it's like, no, that's not going to work. So yeah, they said that it will explore how he juggles his busy career with having so many kids. Say it's such a well-known aspect of his life that it's frequently referenced and joked about on The Masked Singer, which Cannon hosts. Netflix announced the series on Wednesday during its upfront presentation to advertisers in New York. Now, according to the log line, this is what it says the show is about. It says superstar Nick Cannon is ready to pull back the curtain on the complete chaos, headline-making drama, and heartfelt moments that come with raising 12 children with 6 different moms, all while managing his booming career and complicated personal life. In this irreversible, binge-worthy premium docu now we're calling it a docu it's a damn reality show. Get an inside look at how Nick Cannon navigates his wild blended families with humor, vulnerability, and his genuine dedication to being a present father. From $1 million meetings to midnight diaper runs, think Kardashian level glam meets relatable, messy, modern parenting. This is fatherhood, fame, and family. The series comes from Velvet Hammer, blah, 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 so on and so forth. There's a bunch of producers y'all don't even know. So this will be interesting because hasn't his baby mothers kind of come out and given like sort of little things here and there about his parenting process and the fact that he's always working, he's not there a lot of the times. And I think he's even alluded to this on his like podcast whenever he pops up on a podcast, whatever the case is. But it'll be interesting to see how they make this all work out. Because with these docuseries and reality shows, they always try to glamour it up to be a certain way when it's not necessarily that way. And also, it's good. It's this is an interesting time that they're filming this because rumors are swirling because now that a new production company has come in and is working on the Mass Singer, and they're doing it annually, so it's once a year. It's not going to be 2 shows a year that because they normally do 2 seasons a year. Now they're going to just do it annually, which I think is relatively better. There's rumors swirling that the Masked Singer may move to the East Coast because of the production company that's behind this. So they may leave LA and film the show in New Jersey, which actually would be a good idea for this reason. So I don't know what's going to happen if Rita Ora and all of them is still going and Jenny McCarthy Wahlberg and all of them and Robin Thicke and the Asian if they all going to be on there, Kim Jong, if they all going to be on there to continue the show because if they move it to New Jersey, it's like y'all all going to uproot to New York and live out here. I mean, it would work if um Mark Wahlberg was shooting the Blue Bloods spinoff if that was still taking place in New York, but they shoot that in Boston. So it's Boston Blue. And I don't know how Jenny would make that work unless she's gonna be like Anna Navarro, where Anna Navarro lives in Florida, but when she works twice a week on The View, she flies out to New York and does her shows there and then flies back. And then she's on CNN and all that other stuff. So I don't know if that necessarily they'll do it that way. So it'll be interesting if they do that. And I do think it'll be a good idea if they move the Masked Singer to New York because then you would have access to a lot of Broadway performers because y'all been using a lot of these LA people and stuff. But if you come to New York, it's like, yeah, you can get a lot. You can get Audra McDonald, you can get Bernadette Peters, you can probably get Patti LuPone to be on there. You can get a bunch of a lot of these up and coming or iconic Broadway stars and they'd really throw these people for a loop because they can sing down, and or Leah Michelle or any of these people, maybe even Luke Evans because he's doing Rocky Horror. So it'd be interesting if they can see if they do that. Now, in regards to this show, I've never really been into these type of shows, the like the 19 and counting, or when people have like a or what was it, John and Kate plus 8. Remember that? or the Octomom. Like I've never really been into those type of shows. So um I don't know. I feel like for me, I've got to see a trailer in order for me to make a decision on whether or not I'm going to want to check this show out because I don't necessarily know how I feel about it as of yet. But like I said, I'll wait for a trailer to come out before I make an before I make a decision whether I'm going to watch it. But until then, good luck to you, Nick. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Is this like a idea that you would want to? Is this something you'd be interested in? Wanting to see Nick Cannon in a reality docu-series, whatever you want to call it, where he's balancing his career and raising a dozen children with 6 different women. And it be look, they're gonna ask, well, is Mariah gonna be on the show? Because you know she is the biggest name to come out of this. So I don't know if he'd be willing to talk her into wanting to do a scene or two, but we'll see. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. But they have Octodad. I didn't even know. I didn't keep up. Well, I do remember Nadia Suleiman, who was the Octomom. Oh, forgive me, but when he said those things about the Jews, it's like the industry turned him into a slave buck. Oh, you know, they buck broke his ass with all these damn kids by these women. You know what? And I was looking at that too. I'm like, this is such a stereotype where you showing this black man running around with all these damn children, all these different women, and y'all thinking because it's Nick Cannon, he's a celebrity, that is, it's like he's another one of those, you know, tap dancing ass coons that I can't get behind. Him, Kevin Hart, a bunch of them. That's why I didn't even watch that damn roast. And everybody's about, oh, you can't be up here saying all these little slave jokes. And blah, blah. I said, please. That sounds like something Kevin will be all for. He was up in there cackling, really forcing them laughs. I can't believe the Masked Singer. Child, who you telling? I can't believe the Masked Singer is still around. No shade. Nicole ain't on there no more. May she want to go? No, I don't think she would want to go back. I think she done. PCD is giving out refunds for that. Yeah, I heard about that too. Queen Latifah is joining The Voice as a judge, which I know some people like, how y'all gonna put Queen Latifah on the show? She's a rapper. Well, you got her confused with Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj had no business being on American Idol, just like Ellen DeGeneres had no business being on American Idol. What the hell does she know about singing? I mean, she was always doing her little corny, stiff dance before she sat in her chair every time she was on the Ellen DeGeneres show. She would have been better off going over there at, going over there doing So You Think You Can Dance, which ain't coming back because of the whole Nigel Lithgow drama. So Fox said they're not even trying to look at renewing that show. So, but Queen Latifah, the difference between her and Nikki is that Latifah can sing. Latifah has put out a jazz album, so she has. And she's even sang the hooks on her song. Just another day in the hood, living in the hood. Just another day around the way. If you hear that, that's a full on Latifah singing that hook. That's on Black Rain, I believe. That was like the first Queen Latifah album I was old enough to buy was Black Rain when I was a teenager. So, and I remember that record like it was yesterday. I used to be on the school bus listening to that album in my little CD player. You said, yeah. So she's a judge. And that was like I was listening to that album, Crazy Sexy Cool. That was like all coming out around that might have been around 94. But you said, remember when they canceled Shorty Lowe's similarly premised reality show back in the day? Child, I don't even remember. That was how long ago was that? Oh, you saying Nick Cannon's the Octodad. The only difference is he don't have 8, he got 12. So it'll be like, oh, maybe you can call it cheap about a dozen. Who knows? Kevin Hart has been on the decline ever since. Yeah, that's why I was like, all these white people, oh yeah, it was so funny. I'm like, yeah, because y'all like mediocrity and y'all think that shit is funny. It's like the shit I say on this show is funnier than what I was hearing in them roasts. They said, why is he hanging out with Castanet and Mr. Beast? Because he wants to probably get in with that crowd. You know, a lot of people are trying to find ways to reinvent themselves. Queen Latifah has jazz albums thanks to Chicago. As I said, so she has experience as a singer, so she can give, good advice. I realized the other day that the reason why Clavicular has had his 15 minutes of fame is mostly rooted in Castanet's absence in streaming. These Gen Alpha kids need something to oh yeah, because Castanet didn't he? I didn't even realize he left streaming because I don't be watching him like that or at all. But maybe he left because well, he's trying to get into fashion. Good luck with that, but not 12 cannons. Loose cannon. That loose cannon will be your penis. Anyway, speaking of loose cannons, let's talk about Chris Brown. So apparently, Chris Brown released a new album called Brown. So creative. Like, that's the best you can come up with, sir. How many albums you got? And I'm gonna name my album Brown. I'm like, really? Because I believe he has an album called Breezy, Chris Brown. Now Brown is like the lack of originality with this wannabe high yellow Michael Jackson knows no bounds. But anyway, so apparently one of the websites, which one was it? Was it Pitchfork, right? That gave him a 1.3 star review. Talking about it's a piece of shit. And now this is somebody who says they don't care, but clearly you do because you went on your IG stories and did a whole video on how we gonna show these people up. I don't give a fuck what these other people think, and proceeded to throw shade at Zara Larsson in the process of your little rant. So I have the clip. Thank you, Twitter, for having for somebody recording it and putting it up there. I'm gonna play the clip, and we are hold on. I knew it was going. I knew it was gonna play. Hold on. Okay, so because this damn thing loves to refresh. So we're gonna play the clip. Once again, as I said before, we're gonna come back and shout out to Complex for having this video. And we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk. So
Team Breezy. I know people want me to get on here and, say some sad shit, but fuck that. We kicking their ass, goddammit. We ain't letting up. I'm gonna keep my foot on their neck and we ain't stopping. You hear me? We doing this motherfucker tour. More shit to come. I'm not gonna tell you what's more to come, but it's coming at the end of the day. I don't give a fuck what these niggas is talking about. I know exactly who my fans is, and I know exactly who hearing this album. If you're not my fan, I don't want you to listen to my shit. Go listen to motherfucking Zara Larsson or somebody. Fuck.
he fidgets too much. I'm like, girl, what drugs you on? But anyway, so my thing is, if you don't care about what people are saying, because clearly you do, you wouldn't need to subject yourself to going on social media in your Instagram stories so that way it disappears in 24 hours and say with your whole chest, fuck these N words. And if I don't want you to listen to my music, which is fine. Art is subjective, music is subjective. There may have, who knows, there may have been a bias in why, Pitchfork decided to give you the review that they gave. I haven't listened to the album Quiet as It's Kept. I haven't listened to a Chris Brown album in years. He's not my cup of tea. He's not somebody I listen to, nor do I care about. But since you over here in this whole situation and you giving us something to talk about, we're gonna talk about it. But my thing is this comes from a place of insecurity because my thing is if you don't care, then I wouldn't have needed the subject to do a video and throw shade at other people. But I know some people, but they'll be running around saying stuff about him. Okay, so what? Let these people say what the fuck they want to say about somebody who they don't know. The best, as a wise person once said, success is your best revenge, or in the words of Beyonce, the best revenge is your paper. So what you should do is just go off, prove to the people that at the end of the day, y'all don't have to like my music, but I'm still selling out stadiums. I'm still successful in my own right. And I'm not saying that is right for whatever, but clearly he's got a plethora and an army of fans who don't give a damn about his past and a lot of the times that he's been abusive to people or he's assaulted people or he's said crazy stuff online. People like the bad boy problematic behavior. That's something you got to deal with your pastor. That's something you got to deal with your therapist. That's something you got to deal with the man upstairs. I don't care. my thing for me, I'm not a fan of his, so this ain't affected me in no way. But um it just goes to show that the insecurity is obviously showing. You do give a damn what these people think because, like I said before, if you didn't care, you wouldn't have did a video on it. You wouldn't have had to go on and do that little spiel that you just did. So, and then he do the whole Team Breezy thing because we know what that is. That's that typical celebrity gaslighting shit. Nikki does it with the Barbs. They all be up in there doing it, where it's just like somebody says something or you do something problematic, and y'all try to play the victim and the whole thing, and I throw a little thing in it. My fan was supposed, and then y'all be able to, yeah, and Will, yeah, we got you, Chris, we got you, we Team Breeze. Y'all do all that same bullshit and not realizing seeing the forest for the trees. So I'm just like, okay, man, y'all continue to get caught up in, drinking that Jim Jones Kool-Aid if you want to. So now, but I get why he went after Zara Larsson because she has criticized him in the past. According to the report, they said Larsson notably has publicly criticized Brown, who, and of course, you got to remind people, in 2009, he pleaded guilty to assaulting Rihanna in the past. In an interview with Cosmopolitan in February of this year, for example, his name came up when she was asked to name an artist who would never be found on one of her playlists. She said, "There's so many artists I have blocked on Spotify, and all of them are like abusers. You certainly wouldn't find like a Chris Brown song." And then we already know that Chris Brown and Usher are co-headlining a North American tour next month. So, and it's a stadium tour. So, and boy sells out stadiums. Well, the man, because he damn near 40, still acting like a fucking child. And look, him and Usher about to go out on a tour together. And look, he'll be able to show that, we successful with the tour and all this other stuff. But that's not all. Because I went over there to the neighborhood tour and y'all are shady. So they have fans reacted to him throwing shade at Zara Larsson in this whole situation. And let me pull that up because even Azealia Banks jumped up in the conversation. The girl who released one of the worst albums of 2026, by the way, said Zara Larsson wants to fuck Chris Brown so bad. LOL. She's always coming for him. Well, we could say the same about you, that you probably just want to fuck every artist that you talk about like a damn dog. I mean, would that be considered valid? Because you stay talking about celebrities. So there's one. Another person said, Zara Larsson responds to Chris Brown, IDGAF is not like someone was listening to you anyway. Oh, is this recent? Oh yeah, that's with him with the Team Breezy thing. We just played that. They said the day Zara Larsson fills 49 stadiums and brings in $300 million, you call me. Well, why are y'all worrying about somebody's money and somebody's paper and y'all sitting there listening, thinking like, well, she don't have any reason to say what she's saying because she's not as successful as Chris Brown because she's not um a worldwide superstar, whatever the case is. I don't know Zara Larsson's numbers. I don't know how successful she is. I know there's a lot of people that like her, but so as I said before, they're both successful in their own right. What's she saying here?
Right on top of someone you don't like as well.
Oh wow!
Just like
is Chris Brown here?
Or you can just find a little space.
One artist we would never find on a playlist of yours. There's so many artists I have blocked on Spotify. And all of them are like abusers. You certainly wouldn't find like a Chris Brown song. Hi.
Now, a lot of people have already signed the deal.
I see that.
You can either write on.
Okay, so that's one. And it just seems like she's a bit she got a hard on for Chris Brown apparently, and I'm not saying that in a good way. So look, what the commenters are saying is different. So one person says he's beefing with a female, shocker. Another person said all the Chris Brown hate is ridiculous. So people can have an opinion without it being called hate. Y'all are so lazy with that read. Another person says Zara, he's more successful than you before breakfast. The only Zara people know is the store. I don't know who Meredith Breezy is, but she clearly paid for her blue check mark. And you're literally naming yourself Meredith Breezy as if you got a rat's chance of hell of getting fucked, let alone marry a Chris Brown. So now another person said, I like how Zara stands on her business and stands on her morals. Another person said, anyway, not in Midnight Sun is starting to sing it. Another person said, who DF is Zara Larsson? Well, Google is free. You can look her up instead of writing this tired ass post. Another person said, never heard of her a day in my life, yet you felt the need to respond. So yeah, so another person said a lot of black women don't care about men being abusers, which is why the comments are full of mostly black women supporting Chris Brown. Glad my mom raised me to be a black woman that doesn't support abusers. Another person said, "Man, F Chris Brown." So I do agree with that, and that it does seem like that's where a lot of it comes from. It's sad that we have a lot of black women who sit here and look the other way. That you have a black man who has been notorious for abusing black women. I mean, last I checked, Rihanna's black, right? And yeah, he's dated racially ambiguous women in the past, like Karuchi Tran and a bunch of others. And he has made derogatory comments towards black people. Yet y'all look the other way on that because he write good songs and his dick big. We've seen the pictures, so we know that Chris Brown is well endowed. And all the other things. So y'all love moving the goalposts to justify y'all BS. But if that's what you want to do, like I said, that is something you got to deal with in the eyes of the Lord, or as Miss Mabel would say, the Lord, Medea. Her, the Lord, you got to deal with your pastor and with yourself when you look in that mirror. So, as I said before, Chris is gonna do whatever he gonna do regardless. So, um, yeah, Chris gonna do what he's gonna do regardless. It don't matter. It is what it is. He's still gonna be out here selling out his stadiums, doing his stuff. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, his album did appear in the top 5. I don't know how many was sold, how many streams he got. I don't know how many physical copies was sold, but he's gonna be successful regardless, even if he giving y'all so-called mediocre ass R&B tracks, according to some of the people I was hearing about when they were talking about the record. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Chris Brown clapping back at people who criticize his new album? I'm like, look, art is subjective. People are always gonna find reasons to criticize whatever it is you do. You got to fly above the bullshit and just onward. Keep your eye on the prize. Keep doing what you do, and don't let these people detract from what you're doing. But it makes it hard to like Chris Brown sometimes when, based off of some of the crazy stuff that he says and does. And I can't condone people who are abusive to others. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. I dated someone who not sure. If I dated somebody who looked like Shorty Low. Mhm. Black love is in the building. It's he talks like a middle schooler who haven't had their brain cells surpass the embryo. Say, yeah, I was like, he sounded so. You're her. I'm like, you're not from the like. I know you was born and raised in Virginia, but you ain't lived out there in a month of Sundays. Stop it. I guess Chris Brown is getting dragged on Twitter, and people are he's so corny. He's like Drake, where they be trying to play up that whole "I'm a thug." I'm like, you're not. You're not tough. I guess Chris Brown is getting dragged on Twitter, and people are finally realizing he's a very mediocre artist that hasn't reinvented himself, almost 40, and still being a bad boy and a horn dog. And some people feel like that's enough, but you got to realize that gets real old real quick. And when you hit 40, they're gonna be looking at him like, because somebody said that the other day. Wait, I think they got Chris Brown confused, or they said of some dude who was 43 years old and doing push-ups on stage, and I think it was Neo. But I'm like, Neo is out here having like a midlife crisis with that whole really trying to want people to believe that he's got this whole polyamorous relationship and that he's losing gigs and things because of. I'm like, no, people are just not buying the fact that you like pussy. That's what it is. You trying to overcompensate. No, he's not gonna change. They say he's a Taurus. I like the few songs on Heartbreak on the Full Moon. You know how long ago that album came out? Tempo and Pull Up was nice. Zara stay in black folks' business, though. What's she gonna say? What she got to say about those white men in the industry? Well, yeah, because I would definitely love to hear about that. It said only in America are criminals celebrated. He should have been banned from entering the UK. He's a gay famous. Zara is gay famous, and she's okay. But yeah, because the other day she was at one of the gay bars in New York. I forget which one. It might have been Rise Bar that I think she was at. Because one of my friends who was a drag queen took a picture with her. They only stand him because his dick is. I mean, am I lying? I mean, the thing, him, Drake too. We seen the dick. Drake, I will not hold. I ain't gonna hold you. He do got a nice piece though. He said it's huge on Apple Music, but not on YouTube Music and Spotify. But I heard Spotify has made it hard to access him. Yeah. Speaking of which, I heard that Kendrick Lamar's music disappeared from a lot of the streaming platforms. I was like, what's going on? Well, so, yes. Well, child, is he part of a label? Because 70K is not good. When I tell you, I can only name one solo Chris Brown song. Every song I know from him. He's a featured artist. International Love, Nobody's Business. All the songs he had with Nick. Funny enough, when I would listen to Chris Brown, I kind of like when he went more pop with his stuff. But then he started trying to do all this like mid-ass R&B tracks. And I'm like, it's just nothing new, creative, and inventive about what he's doing. Why are male artists always so damn boring? That's the sad part. It's like the girls take all the risks. The male artists, y'all always want to play it safe. Y'all are always kind of just like boring. It's like even Usher. Usher, like I remember at least he tried different genres and sounds, but that last album was a chop. That was like dry. That album was dry as a prune. I was like, what is this shit? I didn't even get through it. That's how much I dislike that album. It said Taurus man. Blech. It's the thing that saved his career because Top 40 abandoned him after the Rihanna incident, so he went this route. It's getting tired. I'm glad you spelled tired. Tired. Tied. Minus the R. But he's not gonna we said, but he's not gonna F them because they don't have his bank account. Hmm. Yeah, he's fine. He's financially set, so you ain't gotta worry about much of anything regarding of that. All right, y'all. So now let's move on. And let's talk about the Pussycat Dolls. So you already heard that the Pussycat Dolls, what they call that, blue fever, a blue dot fever. They succumbed to it, which is basically they couldn't sell no damn tickets on their arena tour, which we knew was very much overly ambitious of them. And it's nice that Nicole has recognized this or acknowledges. I wish the people that was a part of the team would have been like, sis, do you kind of think you aiming high? Especially when you've never really headlined an American tour, let alone an arena tour. Like they've never really done that. And to me, I always felt like y'all should have went the Danity Kane route, which was Danity Kane. They did small venues like Webster Hall and things like that for a couple of shows. Just I guess get the feelers out, see how people felt about them. Even Kylie Minogue was smart, where she's huge overseas, but it's not necessarily big here. And when she did her For Me For You tour, back in what was it like 2001 or something? I can't remember. 2010 or something. She did small venue. She did the Hammerstein. I remember it like it was yesterday because I went twice. So because she did 2 nights there. So of course I had to get tickets. So so she came here. She was like, "I'm gonna downsize my big old arena tour." This was, I think, the era of Aphrodite because remember Aphrodite had like the water section, which I was like, "That's insane that y'all actually had that for a tour." It would have been nice if they could do that in other places, but overseas she had like a water section, so it was like water was coming down, and it was very much like the old school like 40s and 50s where they had the women dancing and swimming in the water and stuff. So she kind of had that whole vibe. And when she brought it to America, she downsized. So she brought a couple of the props over in the costumes, of course, but she downsized because it was like, I can't give you all that same show that I had over there. Luckily, I had the DVD where I could watch the actual Aphrodite tour. But for the most part, I didn't mind a scaled down version. I still felt like I got my life. I got to see Kylie. It was great. It'd have been nice if PCD would have had that idea. But I feel like a lot of y'all, particularly Nicole, and by a lot of y'all, I will say Nicole, her ego got the best of her. And now she's come to the realization that, they don't have it, meaning that they overestimated the demand, and nobody cared to see them out here on a tour. So Nicole finally got 2 out of the 6 Pussycat Dolls back together, only to watch most of the reunion tour collapse before it even began. Now, after the group axed nearly all of its North American dates following weak ticket sales, the singer is reportedly disappointed. So, Nicole Scherzinger has mixed emotions about the PCD about the Pussycat Dolls being forced to cancel all but one date on the U.S. leg of their PCD Forever tour, which I was told that was one of the reasons why I was late, because I was talking to a friend of mine who just told me they're doing the premiere of RuPaul's Stop That Train, and was talking to me about how they're doing, or that they was talking about the event or what was going on over at what was it, LA Pride. So that's what they're actually over there going to be doing. And I was like, yeah, of course they're not going to cancel, because the gays will show up to an envelope opening as long as you put on some spandex and you got give some good hairography. You got the Beyonce diva fans going. As long as they entertain, they don't care. They'll be drunk. They'll be up in there twerking with no ass, living for out of the 6 Pussycat Dolls. So they said Nicole is disappointed. This is what a source told Us Weekly. She was really excited to get back out there with Ashley Roberts and Kimberly Wyatt to celebrate a new era, but now she feels they didn't get a chance to showcase what they can do. The insider acknowledges that the recently reunited girl group has been too ambitious in planning their first tour since 2009's Doll Domination, resulting in low ticket sales. They said they went from not touring for over 15 years to booking big arenas like, of course, my home, Madison Square Garden, with only one new song to back it. Which, looking at that, I'm like, are y'all crazy? You didn't even release an album. Y'all didn't even get in the studio and release new music. Like, how you gonna give us one song? I don't even know how well the song did. It was all right. It sounded like your typical Pussycat Doll song, but you can't go disappear for damn near 15 years. Then I'm gonna release a new song. Then you're only gonna come out with 3 out of the 6 girls, and then expect we're gonna go and sell out arenas. No, because I remember I told y'all there's a girl I work with, a trans girl that I work with. It was like the first tour they ever went to was Pussycat Dolls was the opening act, and it was the Christina Aguilera Back to Basics tour. I believe I forget who was the other group that I said that they had with them. I think it was I can't remember. It doesn't matter. But Pussycat Dolls was one of the girl groups that opened up for them, and was talking about how I think it was Dan. It might have been Danity Kane, but so they opened up, and that's all they've pretty much done in the United States, which is they've been an opening act. They've never like headlined their own show, and like that's why I said before, you could be as excited as you want, but you also have to be realistic and realize and test that you should have tested the waters. Me, I'm very secure as a person where I'd be like, you know what? Let's test the waters. Let's do a couple of dates at smaller venues. From what I was told before, Hillary Duff did that. Hillary Duff went and wanted to test the waters to see is there an audience that still would want to see her get out there and sing them old songs and the new songs off her album. And she went out there, did her little small dates. Yes, the demand clearly was there, which prompted her to set up arena dates. She's doing 2 nights at Madison Square Garden. I don't know when. It might be next month or July. Who knows? I can't keep track. But because my it's pretty busy. I've been pretty busy. So that's what you should have did. Test the waters first. To me, that's not a blow to your ego. That's just dipping your toe in to see like how people feeling about it. What's the reception? But no, we're just gonna go and we're gonna go big or go home. Yeah, now you went home with your tail between your legs, and now your ego's bruised. Because I'm like, club song. I was like, okay, it's all right. I'm sure we'll probably get better bops regarding the club music from Confessions 2 over what it is y'all giving. So they also went and said that they're referencing the song Club Song, which they released in March, but have yet, and they haven't even performed the song live. So we haven't seen y'all make appearances on any talk shows. I don't even think The View does excuse me, performances anymore. But you didn't go on Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel or any of these other shows and perform the new single, which is what y'all should have been doing. But no, you're doing daytime talk shows. You're doing fucking the Today Show. And to me, it's like y'all just sitting there where you see Nicole's brain malfunctioning when she gets asked a question that wasn't on script. In that point, you should have just been going to other places to get the word out there in regards to the tour and performing the new single. Like, where was that? I just feel like whoever y'all team was, whoever you have in the background of your team, they dropped the ball on what it is that they should have been doing for y'all. And it's unfortunate that this is what like the reality that had to hit you in order for you to realize that yeah, these people don't see it for y'all out here. Well, at least in America they don't. Look, for Lopez had to get that harsh reality. Even though I think y'all are way more talented than Jennifer Lopez, but still. Now, Scherzinger's disappointment has not gotten in the way of rehearsals for the only remaining American show at the Out Loud Music Fest in West Hollywood on June 6th. The frontwoman, who's 47, posted a video via Instagram on Tuesday, May 12th, of herself, Roberts, 44, and Wyatt, also 44, running through choreography for the Pride weekend performance before they launched their international tour in September. Saying Nicole is trying to look on the bright side because the dolls are still proceeding with their European dates, which she's beyond excited about, but it's hard not to feel defeated. This is what the insider tells us. She's been through this before. Her solo album, Her Name is Nicole, was shelved in 2007. Well, she did like that album, though. What became of it? But he said the Dolls also had to cancel their last reunion tour in 2020, and she has a ton of other music that she never got to put out. It's been a tough road for Nicole despite her other successes, but she's grateful for the continuous love from across the pond. Now, while the Pussycat Dolls have called off 32 shows, they believe fan videos for the remaining 21 dates could draw interest for a second chance in America. She said Nicole's hopeful the dolls can figure out something else in the US after people see the show they're putting together for Europe, which is going to be very special. Well, you know what? Maybe that would have been a good idea. Maybe you should have did Europe first because they love you over in Europe. Like they're real pop. Pussycat, it don't matter. They could be just two of the members. It could be Nicole and Kimberly, and they would still and a bunch of damn backup dancers, and they'll still support them. But once they put the show together, once people see the pomp and circumstance, the spectacle, and everything, maybe there will be a demand for the Pussycat Dolls to come back to America. Maybe people are just skeptical because they need to see how it looks in somewhere else for them to want to get the idea of wanting to see it. But I think what you need to do is don't do the thing you did before, meaning don't set dates for arenas. Do small venues in America. Once you start seeing the demand is there, then the next time y'all come around and you properly put out a new album and things of that nature, then you can do, you know, arena dates. Like book the Infosys Theater in the Garden. That's our smaller theater that we have when you can't get the arena. We have the Emphasis Theater. So do that. You can fit 5,000 people in there. So if she did something like that, I feel like that would be even better than trying to do the whole, the big arena tour, which I think would be good to have. I mean, it'd be great to have an arena tour, but you haven't proven yourselves that y'all can even do that. And it's hard out here, especially when y'all was out here charging ridiculous prices. You can't do like three of y'all and be charging people 100, well, not even 100. Y'all were charging people damn near $1,000. Y'all were charging people Lady Gaga prices or Madonna prices or Beyonce prices for a ticket. And y'all know how expensive them damn tickets are. So yeah, I wouldn't be, and it's getting hard out here. The economy is crazy. People damn near have to sell a fucking kidney in order to, go to a concert or take out a whole loan, which I'm hoping it doesn't do that, but it's also gonna, in ways, I'm just hoping and praying it doesn't affect my neck of the woods because I work in live entertainment. So shout out to you, Nicole. Shout out to the rest of you girls over there at the Pussycat Dolls. Hopefully y'all can find a way to work it out. And then and then don't even forget about what was it, Jessica Sutter came out and admitted that she's a supporter of Trump and she believes in a lot of the ideologies of RFK Jr. and all that other stuff. So there's a lot of controversies that surrounds this band this girl group as well. But I definitely want to hear from y'all. What are your theories in regards of why the Pussycat Dolls tickets didn't sell? And she ain't the only one. We hear Zayn Malik, a bunch of them is going through it where they're struggling to sell tickets, or maybe they're using the excuse, they're sick and there's all this other stuff. But yeah, they're going through it as well. So this whole blue dot fever, let's talk about it. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. It's like, let me close all these windows. It was like, I'm so caught up in this show that I forgot to close a lot of my windows. Now his latest album is giving Chat GPT. It'd be funny if that's the way he wrote them lyrics too, right? It said PCD needed to do theaters and clubs, but I guess Live Nation feels theaters and club dates don't equal to $2 to $5 million a night, but makes roughly 500. So what? But PCD ain't like that, and that's what Live Nation greedy asses need to realize is that not everybody can do the $2 to $5 million a night for y'all. Sometimes you got to do the small venues. Cat's Eye, Doshi, a lot of them did the Emphasis Theater at the Garden. PCD tried to hit a lick with those high ticket prices. I know that red-handed one, that redheaded one cackling. Mm-mm. You mean Carmit? I'm convinced that her being outed as MAGA has a lot to do with it. It could be because a lot of people do think she's a red hatter. I have noticed that the 2000s outside Beyonce, Taylor Swift, and Britney Spears are the first decade of the millennium icons. Plus, there was a video that said, unlike the Spice Girls, Destiny's Child, PCD never was able to establish a personal connection with the public and a passionate fan base. That is true because I never really was feeling I was not really feeling PCD like that. Yeah, they came up with a couple of songs, and I did like some of their songs. I like "Don't Shut Buttons" and "Stick with You" and "When I Grow Up." Like they had a couple of bops. I like seeing them perform and hit their little poses and whip their hair back and forth and do all that stuff and give attitude. But yeah, they never were one of. To me, they were never one of those girls like a Destiny's Child, like a Spice Girls, like a TLC, that stood out to me in a way where they could be like that real defined girl group. They were just like another random girl group among some other like they give me 3 LWTs. Just another random girl group that okay, y'all wear cute clothes and y'all do little poses and you give attitude. We've seen that already. So Carmi is promoting her new EP. Yeah, I heard about her that she has a new EP coming out. I think I saw that in passing. Or I saw I was scrolling on Instagram and I think she did an interview where she was talking about it. You said Arena and Rihanna to the list of 2000 icons. She could sell out a stadium. Yeah, that is true. Like Rihanna, the demand is definitely there for her because it's been damn near a decade since she's performed. People still want new music from her. So if tomorrow she woke up and was like, I want to do a stadium tour. She definitely would sell that out in minutes. You said nothing for Xtina. PCD is sold out in Europe, but like people said, that was a given. They have a bigger presence there. All of them live in the UK. And in 2019, when the original reunion was announced, it was Europe only. And that thing also, yeah, because Kimberly White, that's why she sound funny when she talk. When you hear a little bit of a British, like she's not doing what Madonna does. But it's like when you live in London or England, you start picking up a couple of the dialect. And so they all live out there because they're married with kids, except Nicole. And Nicole, she goes back and forth from doing stuff on the West End. She's done X Factor and things of that nature. So she has an international presence. She hasn't really built that in the United States, except for yeah, she did. She did the X Factor here, right? And she did. She did the Masked Singer, whatever. Um, and then she did Broadway recently. So she has a she has a bit of a fan base and she has a cult following. But I think overseas she's a lot bigger. I found out that that bundle of sticks I don't like directed stop that. It's by Adam Shankman. And now I really hope the movie flops. Adam Shankman, Drag Race fans definitely aren't feeling. Yeah, it looks terrible. And a friend of mine got an invite. I'm about to tell it, child. A friend of mine got an invite from Juju B. And so he's going to the LA premiere, but he's going to do like some of the red carpet stuff. He already hit them up. And Juju was only given 5 tickets to bring, which she could bring people to the premiere. And Yeah, I don't think the movie looks terrible. So I don't think I'll be going to the movies to see it. I'll wait until it comes out on streaming. It looks like a bad drag race um skit. You know how like when they be doing the improv challenges with the green screens in the back? Like that's what it's giving. I'm like, y'all could not be serious when y'all put this shit together. Because every portion of them react in the UK and Australian shows, so they're not iconic. Yeah, they're not iconic here. It should have been Europe first. They didn't promote as a trio. Robin said, it's only a tour. She said it's expensive to do an album. No major label is interested in PCD. I've been told to evolve. Is it? Well, I guess it is expensive to do an album. I mean, look, Adam Lambert went independent. There's a lot of artists out here who's going independent. You have to evolve and let others sing. I'm like, Nicole is the singer, the other girls are dancers, and they state the public is demanding the others sing and have equal footing. But yeah, but if that's not what Pussycat Dolls is, and that was, I always felt the problem with Pussycat Dolls. They never truly established what type of group they were. They just thought, okay, we need to play up that we're a bunch of singers in a group together, like your typical girl group. But they were never that. They were a burlesque act who had guest girls come in and sing while they danced behind them in scantily clad clothing. That's what Pussycat Dolls was giving. But it seemed like they were going through an identity crisis where, oh, we have to make it like, we got to be like all the other girl groups. Like, we're like Destiny's Child, where everybody has a part to sing. And also, I'm like, but Destiny's Child were always vocalists before they were every. I mean, they of course they were the complete package, but it was always about the singing. At the end of the day, that was the foundation of them harmonizing and all that stuff. All the other stuff came along with it because when you're a pop star and you're on MTV, all this stuff, you have to package it in a certain way. So the problem I've always felt with the Pussycat Dolls is they never truly established what type of group they were, and that's why I feel like it hurt them. And that's why they was like, "Oh well, Nicole's trying to take over, and she's trying to do this and do that." I'm like, but that's what they wanted. They wanted her to sing lead and do the backing vocals and partake in all of the heavy lifting because I love Melody, but Melody's vocals at times it was something. Because I'm like, man, you trying to do them runs, you trying to hit the Christina moments, because you're trying to outsing Miss Thing over here, and you sounding a little pitchy. So there was a lot of that going on. And y'all know I'm right because you can go put on the videos and hear Miss Thing was out of tune trying to hit them runs during buttons. With also her PCD, Nicole owning 75% of the brand that turned people off. Maybe a plethora of things. I feel the industry and talk shows need to allow music performances back. I guess they don't want to pay royalties and other money. Well, that's just laziness. And that's why a lot of these shows are going down the tubes. But some of these shows like Jimmy Fallon and them, they still do late night. I mean, they still do performances. I'm getting a little tired of your broken promises. Y'all know that. Y'all know 3LW. Fifth Harmony struggle with that same problem. I like a lot of 5/8 songs, but only for a throwback when I'm nostalgic over my. Are they at a point in their career where they could be nostalgia bait? Nicole replaced Cheryl Cole on the US X Factor after Cheryl was hard to market with her thick. Oh, you talking about her thick Geordie accent made it hard for American. Yeah, her accent was thick. It's hard to hear. Sometimes. I'm like, girl, what are you saying? I honestly don't think making music is expensive. And especially, look, if Adam Lambert, who is not necessarily an A-list pop star or whatever, because, being gay and all this other stuff, if he can start his own label and record music for his new album and do it on his own, anybody can put out a record and go independent. You can find ways to make that shit work. And trust and believe, between the three of them, they all got money, especially Nicole. She got money. All them years she was doing those competition shows, all this stuff. You could use that coin. You could build a studio. Look, the way you save money, I'm like, I could build a studio in my house, have a producer come over, he stay in the guest room or whatever the case is, and we bang it out. We start making, we start doing our music and getting creative. That's what you do. So I don't care for Nicole's solo work. All right, well, guess whose solo work I do care about? Dantas, because we're gonna talk about her. So Bryan Cranston is on the studio. I totally forgot he was a part of the studio, by the way, until I saw this interview, because he did an interview with Access Hollywood. So that shit was canceled. But I guess that's like at the end of, I guess they're finishing up until I think maybe around September is when they're gonna cancel it. But anyway, that Mexican Trump supporter, Mario Lopez, is on there, that idiot, and who thinks he's white. And some other chick was on there, with Access Hollywood, and Bryan Cranston came on there and gave a little tea on what we could expect from the Queen of Pop's appearance on the studio, which I'm actually looking forward to, because she's going to be playing a version of herself in a universe where she was going to have her biopic, which I'm actually hoping still happens. Because remember the other day we talked about with Paramount that they got into a business deal with Warner Music Group, where they're going to have access to possibly doing biopics on a lot of the music artists that are part of the roster. So, and also I think documentaries, but I think the documentary part is over there with Netflix. So anyway, I said, if you needed, shout out to Rolling Stone with this story. If you needed more reason to be excited for the second season of the studio, Bryan Cranston teased an apparently crazy scene he filmed with Donta on the HBO show. Now, during an interview with Access Hollywood, Cranston suggested that the scene is so wild that viewers will be staring in shock at their TV. He said, in this next season of the studio, I do something in front of Madonna, Cranston said, in a truth or dare test, and it's a dare, and I do something that will either raise my street cred very high or destroy my career. It's one of the two, but I guarantee you will utter to yourselves, oh my God. But he said he put his hands around his face and feigned shock. You will be watching this like this, he said, and you will not believe it. Now it is wait, hold on. I was like, what happened? Gotta go back. I lost my place because I hit the wrong damn thing. It has not been revealed who Madonna is playing on the series, but Cranston's character Griffith Mill, the eccentric CEO of Continental Studios, was established in season 1. The actor described working with Madonna in Italy and commended her work ethic. Well, they said it's not been revealed who she's playing. I believe she's playing herself, because some people, from the rumor, they're doing an exaggerated take on her biopic, because they're saying that the Continental Studio was going to be the ones producing her biopic. And so there's a version of that. And then of course Julia Garner, who was supposed to be playing Madonna in the biopic, is also making a cameo. He says she's an extraordinary person. I mean, she's Madonna. This is what Cranston said. She's one of the most famous people in all the world. And we were in Venice, Italy, shooting 2 episodes over there. And it was almost like a pinch me time. You're going, look at where we are with Madonna. He added, she works very hard. Her work ethic is incredible. And she was funny, and she contributed, and she was a good sport. We were there until 3, 4, 5 in the morning sometimes, and she was right there with us. So I got nothing but great things to say about her. Now, the studio also stars Seth Rogen as studio head Matt Remick, and co-stars like Baron Holtz, Chase, Sweet Wonders, and Catherine Hahn. The first season featured a huge array of celebrity cameos, including Martin Scorsese, Olivia Wilde, and Zoe Kravitz. Catherine O'Hara, who passed away in January, appeared in season 1 as producer Patty Lee and won an Emmy for the role. Now, last month, Rogen and co-creator Evan Goldberg told the Times of London that they were forced to suddenly change the entire upcoming season following O'Hara's death, saying it has been an unbelievable challenge. obviously emotionally dealing with the loss, but also when it comes to the show itself, we wrote it for her to be there. We had it all set and the shockwaves permeate throughout the entire new season. It's been difficult. You worded it better than we could. She was the anchor, and now the anchor is gone. And they said, if anything, we acknowledge the idea that we are a little anchorless, but honestly, that is a part of life and what we all experience. And so while we try to not dwell too much on the heavy themes in the show, we will be there. They will be there the second season. We're not ignoring it. So who knows when this they said HBO when hasn't announced the studio, but the studio is not on HBO, it's on Apple TV. So you made a mistake there, Rolling Stone. But nevertheless, I'm actually looking forward to this season. I've been hearing nothing but great things about the studio. I have not actually gotten around to watching it, so that's my bad. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until they announce the new season, and I'm going to actually binge watch it when it comes out. And then so that by the time that new season comes around, it's fresh in my mind. Because yeah, I've been hearing nothing but great things about this show. And so that's literally what I'm going to be getting into because everybody says it's really funny. So, but that's not all that we're going to talk about over on here. So, as y'all know, Confessions 2 is coming out in July. And one of the things I have noticed is that as of late, there have been a lot of listening parties that have been going on. I heard that she held a listening party over at Red Eye, which is a friend of mine, Daniel Nardicio's club. Not Red Eye, it was Club Cumming. That's what it was. So Alan Cumming owns it, and I believe also is a co-ownership with a friend of mine, Daniel Nardicio, unless he sold his shares, and now he's over there running Red Eye and all the other stuff. So I haven't kept up, so I don't remember. But I know at one point he was heavily involved. So, um, see, this is what happens when you don't close all your damn windows over on your phone. But so yeah, there's something that came out in regards to the whole situation. One of the women by the name of hold on, because I have it, Lucy O'Brien, who is a writer, academic, and she wrote Madonna like an icon. She gave a little inside tea on what we could expect from this upcoming album because she said she was there. So let me pull that up. And she said, just been to Madonna Playbook, which included 4 amazing new album tracks, a mix of dance music, spoken word, sassy beats, and passionate recollection. Hashtag Madonna. So a lot of people, so one person said, I hated spoken music album, didn't know she couldn't sing anymore. And Lucy says she still can sing. And actually, there's a lot more of her melodic vocal than spoken word. And of course, I had to write in the comments, she's been releasing spoken word since the erotica era. That goes to show y'all don't know dick about Madonna and her music. Y'all just want to come in the comments and start making little comments and throwing shade and all this other shit without actually doing your due diligence and doing your homework and speaking on things that you actually know about. So there was that. Now, because hold on, because I actually have to pull up the full situation that I got to read because it was a long one. Yeah. So another person said, is it a house album, continuous mix like not Roisin Murphy? I mean, I get the reference, but we don't talk about that turf over here. But anyway, so continuous mix like Roisin Murphy, Roisin Machine, where every song was like 5 to 6 minutes. Anything you can compare to give us an idea of what to expect. And she said it's hard to say on just 6 tracks, but overall it's house with new disco and influences of Detroit techno and just good old dance pop continuous mix. So similar to very much like Confessions on the Dance Floor, but it's, it's following that format of the continuous mix. Another person said, thank you so much for sharing. Does this feel like a proper follow-up to Confessions in terms of quality, Madonna's songwriting / arrangement and vocals? Not expecting a full Confessions retread, given the deviations in soundscape we've heard so far, any hung up level moments. And Lucy says she's at such a different stage of her career. What strikes me is the difference and the maturity. Danceteria is her hung up. Now, for those of you not familiar, Danceteria was one of the clubs that Madonna came up in when she was coming up in the whole club scene. Danceteria was a very popular club in New York. I wish I was old enough to be able to go to Danceteria, but I was an infant when Danceteria was on and popping, so I wasn't able to experience Danceteria. But I know I have plenty of friends with the nightlife scene because I have a lot of older friends who have had that experience of being, in that environment. So another person asked, is there a specific new lyric that stood out to you from any of the new songs, and which of the new tracks is your favorite, or could you see ending up as a radio single release? It seems like you feel Danceteria is this album's hung up, even if it's spoken word. And Lucy says, it was quite hard to catch all the lyrics. I really wanted to listen to Fragile again because that felt so personal. Well, I think that's the one that's about her brother, Christopher, who passed away. Then they said, because that felt so personal. My two favorites are Danceteria and Fragile first, which I feel so free a close second. Now somebody asking, is there a saxophone? Which y'all think this is Tina Turner? Then someone asked, "Do you have any song that like I guess they meant like get together? It's my favorite." One person, and then Lucy said, "Not so much romantic songs so far. Maybe that's coming in the next batch of tracks." So yeah, that's everything that's going on with this whole thing so far in this whole situation or whatever you want to call it. But speaking of which, hold on. So let's expand. Where's the Thank you. That's what I was trying to get it. Because I'm always having to freaking rearrange this damn video and the whole size and everything. Okay, so let's get into the tea. So, I think this is the same person because it cuts off. I may have to go to my Facebook and look it up because now it feels like the version that was screenshot and put up there, it cuts off. So yeah, it was like I think Madonna had it. So shout out to they said so Lucy O'Brien today attended a Madonna playback event in London where she heard 6 tracks from Confessions 2, 4 of which had not been released, the remaining 2 being in all likelihood I Feel So Free and Bring Your Love, the only tracks from the album already available on streaming platforms at the time of the session. Stuart Price was present and confirmed the tracks were crafted like a DJ mix, blending continuously into each other. Now they talk about the overall sound and format. The album is a continuous mix, not separate standalone tracks. The overall sound has house and new disco influences, Detroit techno touches, and what O'Brien calls good old dance pop. It has elements of 80s house rooted in personal memory rather than pure nostalgia. O'Brien described it as plugged into memories, not just New York, but Menjo as a teenager in Detroit. Despite the retro touchstones, the lyrics are so original it doesn't feel like a throwback. It's personal but still reaches outward, danceable and up-tempo. O'Brien's overall framing, think of it like Confessions with further depth and insight. Not any romantic songs in the first batch, those may appear later. Now, track by track details goes in saying they talk about Danceteria, an incredible spoken word track about Madonna's stories from her early clubland years in New York. O'Brien compared it to the rap section of Vogue, but grittier, and rather than referencing Hollywood icons, it name checks her New York friends. It received a massive round of applause when heard at the session and is described as funny. When asked if there are any hung up level moments of the album, O'Brien noted that Madonna is at a completely different and far more mature stage of her career, and that Danceteria is the closest equivalent, not a repeat of what came before. I mean, retread, repeat, same shit, different toilet, but a track that carries the same landmark, weight, and greater depth. Now they talk about Fragile, a slightly slower track confirmed to be about her brother Christopher Ciccone, who passed away from cancer in October of 2024. Madonna had already revealed the song's existence and subject matter in her Jay Shetty podcast appearance months earlier. So this playback marks the first time, sorry, the track has been heard by journalists, effectively confirming its place on the album. It has an icy production feel with synth strings reminiscent of Frozen. O'Brien called it beautiful. I was like, Frozen, what if it was kind of like Forbidden Love? I'm talking about from Confessions, because I love that song. And that kind of has like a slow, very sensual vibe to it. Anyways, then they talk about Love Sensation. Now, one of the 2 tracks previewed at Club Confessions party at the Abbey in West Hollywood on April 25th when Madonna and Stuart Price debuted it alongside her new material. No further sonic details were shared by O'Brien at this playback. That is about good for the soul. I do like that title because like good for the soul could be like food, music. I always feel like house music is good for the soul. Kind of like eating. Now, a previously unknown track revealed for the first time at this playback session, described as a four to the floor track with a hint of Detroit techno. So this sounds pretty exciting and entertaining, and I'm definitely looking forward to hearing this album when it comes out, which we all know is July 3rd, the day before Independence Day. So we got like literally a month and some change to go before we get this record. So shout out to you, Madonna. So yeah, that's the latest. I just want to give you a little insight on what we could be expecting from the new album. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding what Bryan Cranston said we could be looking forward to on this upcoming season of the studio, as well as what could we be expecting from Madonna's upcoming dance album? So whatever your thoughts are on this matter, let me know in the comments down below. Wait, hold on. I was like, where is this? I hate when I'm looking for something and I can't find it, but I got it now. Our next story. But let's see what y'all are saying in the comments. Madonna is redefining age like the usual girl she is, the woman of reinvention, as she should. And she about to prove a lot of y'all wrong because everybody wants, when you a certain age, they want y'all to be like just a wither away and die. 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is 50 days until. Not you're keeping track. Using the same microphone for the first confessions is a nice tribute, and she loves doing what is familiar and comfortable in that way. Goes back to the physical attraction on her goes back to the physical attraction on her debut album. She recorded at Sherlin Road, Stewart's house. Mm. Dance Interior was desperately seeking suits. I haven't seen that movie in 100 years. But anyway, let me close all these windows. All right, y'all. So now let's get into this. Hold on. I was like, I got to make sure that I got all this stuff out before we move on to the next topic. Okay, so let's get into our next story. And let's talk about Paris Jackson. So I guess congratulations to her because she won she scored a little victory over there with wait, that's not even what I wanted to hit. Um in this whole Michael Jackson thing against the estate. As you know, she's been going through it right now in regards to this whole situation. But anyway, so a spokesperson for Paris told TMZ, because shout out to TMZ, they had this story. Paris has always been focused on what's best for her family, and this ruling is a massive win for them. After years of delay, the Jackson family will finally get the transparency and accountability measures that she has fought for. So to get you up to date, Paris Jackson scored a major win in her battle over money spent by the executors running her late father Michael Jackson's estate, while the executors also received praise for their work. Oh, so we're just giving participation trophies and congratulation trophies. Now, according to court docs obtained by TMZ, an LA judge ruled that $625,000 in bonuses paid by executors John Branco, who was all over this damn Michael movie, and John McClane to third-party law firms will have to be returned to the estate. As TMZ first reported last year, Paris raised concerns about certain bonuses paid out to third-party law firms that worked on the estate in 2018. Paris claimed that the bonuses were excessive and not approved. At the time, Paris's lawyer argued that irregular payments raised serious and substantial questions about executors' ability to effectively supervise counsel and question the so-called wasteful six-figure gift giving to themselves and their colleagues. It's like, yeah, how you sit up here using the estate's money to just be giving out gifts? You can use the money that I pay you for your time. to do whatever you need to do with it. You should not be using this money to be paying out to all these third-party people. In another filing, Paris claimed that the present record suggests a group of closely knit, highly compensated lawyers is exploiting executors' lack of oversight to skim money from the estate in plain view. The executors argued that fees were standard for their industry and claimed they earned their estate a ton of money during the year in question due to massive deals they closed. Now, the court acknowledged the work the executives did to transform the estate into the financial powerhouse it is today, noting they had created real and substantial generational wealth for Paris and her two brothers, but ultimately decided the $625,000 in bonuses were not approved and need to be returned to the estate. And I have to say, like, okay, I'm glad the fact that, because look, from what the word was, Michael Jackson was $500 million in debt when he died, like $500 million, and he was excessive in how he spent his money. Even though he was owning all, the Beatles catalog and all this other stuff that he had, he was excessively out of control with his spending. And I'm sure they lost a lot of money when he was supposed to do that This Is It tour with the documentary and everything. And when he passed away before he could even get the tour up and running, I'm sure that was a huge loss. So I'm glad that, the estate, the people have, John Brink and them have used their wherewithal, their money and well, not money, but just like their influence, their power and everything to turn business around and create generational wealth for Michael's children. And then hopefully down the road, their children and their children's children. And I believe that the entire Jackson family is currently successful in eating because of the whole, how much has been accumulated into the estate. Because I forget who it was, but they said, yeah, all the Jacksons, they pretty much all live in mansions. So they all well taken care of and don't have to work. So I'm sure like the legacy of the Jacksons and everything, all of Michael's siblings don't have to ever work, whatever. They're well taken care of. They ain't got to worry about a thing. They're socialized at this point. And I'm glad that this all has happened, but it's like, and it goes to show that, you know what, Paris is the one that truly gives a shit about what's going on in this family. And I love the fact that she's out here questioning a lot of things that's been going on. Everybody wants y'all to just sit back and be quiet and just go along to get along. And it seemed like, Blanket, we ain't never heard what he sound like. Prince glad to get on TV and talk about this damn Michael movie. If somebody point a camera and a microphone in his face, and Paris be out here contesting every damn thing. Oh, I don't like that. I don't approve of that. I read that script and it was a mess. So, but it's fandom, it's catnip for the fandom and all that other stuff. So shout out to her, because when you go out and you actually show that, okay, this ain't sitting right with me, it shows you give a damn. I don't like people that just sit idly by and just accept shit because apparently that's what you're supposed to do. So now, a rep for the executors told TMZ, they said, we are gratified that the court itself recognized and praised the work of the executors and its outside counsel in today's decision. Well, yeah, y'all did a good job. You just don't have right to take money and give it out to, paying third-party people. Then the rep went on to say, while the court has previously approved several other bonuses to outside counsel over the years for their extraordinary services, and this was the first time they were the subject of objections, the executives have always understood the legal fees are subject to court approval and have always required outside counsel to agree to return any funds to the estate if the payments were not approved. The rep pointed out that the bonuses were not paid to the executors themselves, but rather to outside law firms. The rep said that ultimately, while we disagree with the decision, we fully respect it and plan to move forward accordingly. Yeah, because y'all don't want to be out here looking bad. So shout out to you, Paris. You got your little big one. And I mean, is this it with this whole case? Because I thought it was much more to it, but I guess I'll keep myself abreast of this story as it continues to develop down the road if there is any more to add to it. But in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this story related to Paris's victory against the executors who were going out giving bonuses to outside law firms? So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Excuse me. 67 Hot 100 radio is blowing up, but streams are lacking. But I think Warner knows the success is in the album. Well, we will see all of that when the album comes out. Our Ticketmaster CEO has revealed that bots and the 1% are the preferred customer. Okay. Because when you put your credit card on our file, we check your credit and your account. And yeah, we do not. Whatever. First of all, Ticketmaster is a piece of shit. They want people to go in debt to buy tickets. Did Michael Jackson have BPD or bipolar disorder? Because a lot of people I've known and heard in the media who have those disorders tend to have horrible spending habits. That'd be a good question if he was like, because I'm sure that there was a toll taken on his mental health, especially with all the stuff he had to deal with from his father and the traumatic things that he was dealing with from them the people in the tabloid folks and all the other stuff that was coming after him. The press was ruthless against Michael. I was like, not meant to take that out. Okay, so, but that's a good question. I don't know, and I don't think we'll ever know because, I mean, unless they have it on record, or it might be too late to even try to test it because the man been dead for almost 20 years. So, who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if he was. All right, y'all. So now let's move on and let's talk about Lizzo, who has a new album coming out called Bitch. Bitch. That bitch. But anyway, so she has an album out called Bitch. I'm a bitch. I'm a lover. I'm a child. I'm a mother. I'm a sinner and a saint. I do not feel I don't know why she went and decided to use that as a damn chorus. But shout out to Meredith Brooks. Overall, the song is a chop. It's whatever. It's like Lizzo giving you typical Lizzo, but she's out here complaining and saying that the algorithms are destroying the music industry and it's screwing up her album promo. Now she did release a video. I think it was on TikTok, but I saw it over on the Twitter, which is a better clip anyway. And she broke it down. I was saying, like, you know what, everybody's out here saying, oh no, because you're a flop, you're this, that, and the other. I thought maybe it has to do with the fact that because of the controversies around her with the sexual harassment and all this, so maybe people just not feeling her era of music. Now I like the rap stuff that she was doing, that mixtape and everything that she had came out with recently. I was living for that. So I was like, oh, Lizzo, switching up. It's different. I mean, I know she's rapped in the past, but I was really liking what she was doing there. But when it comes to the music, it sounds like your typical, like it feels like marching band music is what she kind of gives me. And I know she plays the flute like old girl did in American Pie. But for the most part, I prefer, I don't know, I like Lizzo when she's a little edgy or a little ratchet. But she's out here literally blaming algorithms for why her music is tanking. Now, I do have that clip. We are going to play that clip. And then afterwards, we are going to come back and talk about it. Please hold.
Hi, I'm Lizzo. I have an album coming out in 23 days, and I bet you nobody even knows that. I'll tell you why. Full disclaimer, last time I made a video like this, I got
Hold on, not her introducing herself. But anyway, let's get back to the clip.
some hate on the internet because people were like, oh, she's just mad that she's flopping. But in person, in real life, real people in the industry came up to me and said, thank you for saying what you said, because everybody else is too scared to say it. So I'm gonna end this disclaimer by saying, I don't really care what somebody on the internet who's never done this before has to say about it, because you don't know what you're talking about, and I do. The algorithm-based way that social media functions now is destroying the music industry. Now, when I say the music industry, I don't mean music culture. I don't mean the good music that's out. I don't mean our ability to connect via social media to music. I'm talking about the actual industry that allows artists to sell their music for profit. Because if your algorithm is super serving you things out of order of when they're happening, then the general public has no idea when music is actually coming out. I have had several occasions where there were artists whose music I was actually looking forward to, I completely missed because I didn't realize it was out because my algorithm didn't tell me. And I don't want to blame everything on the algorithm. Of course, we curate our own reality. However, back in the day, which was maybe even just 5 years ago, we used to get things chronologically. Because of streaming and social media and our post-COVID chronically online society, most of music marketing is online. Not to mention budgets are, therefore, music marketing relies heavily on social media. But now, ever since the algorithm has been showing us things out of order, baby, There's actually no way to successfully promote an album where everyone knows your album is coming. Now, mind you, when I say everyone knows your album is coming, that doesn't mean whether they care or not that it's coming. Believe it or not, once upon a time, there were artists who were just the biggest on the planet who everyone knew their album was coming, whether they were going to buy it or not. It was ubiquitous. Where it bites me in the ass is I have a private page. I have a private page with over 280,000 people who follow me because they support me, because they love me. But even when I post on that page, I'm not hitting their algorithm. I have 280,000 people who want to buy my album, who want to see me on tour, and they're not even seeing my promotional videos. And I get accused of not promoting my album when I'm doing morning shows, podcasts, Netflix specials, dropping the packaging, dropping the cover, doing my part. And it's not just me, because virality does not equal album sales. There are people who are super viral whose albums just don't sell as much as their fame. Their albums don't match the amount of views they have on their posts. And listen, I'm going to be okay. I'm a big girl. I'm a very successful woman. I have a loyal fan base. I'm saying this to bring awareness to where we're headed. It is deeply concerning, you guys. Fans are not even aware that their favorite artist is releasing music, and they're doing everything they need to do to keep up with their favorite artists. They follow them. Something has got to give about this, but you know what? What do I know? I'm just a girl. My album Bitch is coming June 5th, and if you didn't know, now you know.
All right. Well, the album's coming out on June 5th. So the question remains, do y'all care? What do you think is the overall reason why Lizzo's music is not hitting, or, the algorithm is algorithming? Because I don't look. The only way that I be knowing that albums come out because I'm on Apple Music. I didn't know she was releasing music until I happened to be on Apple Music, and um I saw that the album cover was up there and it had her with the middle finger, bitch and all that other stuff. And I'm like, okay, so Lizzo got new music coming out. Then I heard the new single and all. So that's the only way I found out. But for the most part, I don't know. Like, what do you do? Because there are people out here who they do the work they can. And I always felt that in my heart of hearts that because record labels are so damn lazy and don't, I guess, have the money or the budget, whatever, to want to put into nurturing, promoting an artist, that you can rely on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and and Snapchat, or excuse me, or whatever social media platform that you are a part of that can get your music out there. She also felt that racism and fat phobia has a lot to play into why she's not getting the recognition. Because look, at one point, Lizzo had to lose a whole lot of weight for y'all to take her seriously. And that seems to happen with a lot of artists, that they start out being big and proud, or whatever the case is, and they have to resort to the Ozempic or diet and exercise, or, like the Ozempics and the Manjaros and every other little trick under the sun in order for y'all to look at them and see them and take them seriously. Me personally, it's like, I like the idea of Lizzo. I like that she out there doing her thing, but her music don't be hitting me like that. I mean, so I'm not gonna take away and say like, well, she don't know what she's talking about, but it's like because she's in the business and she understands what's going on. But I really wish that what would happen, instead of Lizzo being the sole person to come out here and say what needs to be said, that a lot of you pussy ass hoes hiding behind the scenes and messaging her and probably, oh yeah, I agree with you. You right, sis, and all this other stuff. Unless instead of you doing that, how about y'all all as a collective, a lot of you who are in powerful positions or have powerful and big careers would stand in solidarity? What they all going to do? Shell all of y'all for having an opinion? Who they going to have to promote? Some bitch over there at on TikTok that still can't get people to buy their music? So as a collective, maybe some of y'all should come out and actually say something and speak on the behalf of everybody out of here who is struggling as a squirrel trying to get a nut, and speak up for those who don't have the ability to speak up for themselves. So But yeah, she has been everywhere. She was at what was it? She went and did CBS Morning. She went and did the roast of Kevin Hart. She's been in a lot of places. So, and she also said on Twitter when I saw this, she retweeted Pop Crave doing the clip of the video that I've just played y'all. She said, "Mark my words, I'm on the right side of history. You're welcome." So, some people gonna feel like, okay, now you're being a little arrogant. But I was like, hold on, let me see what people said in the comments. Okay, it said one person said, "No, Lizzo, we know you are releasing music. The general public doesn't just give a fuck about your music. You're flopping and it's okay." Another person said, "My dear, we know all of your songs, even the ones you are about to write." um, then somebody posted, "No, honey, your album is taken because your music sounds like this." So I can hear that in the background. I don't want to get, monetized. I mean, demonetized. And then there's all you're doing is complaining when the real issue is your illusion of talent. You are not culturally significant, important, or even interesting in a world of Ice Spice, Addison. Chill. Not about in a world of Ice Spice and Addison Rae, two of the biggest Kayas in the business. The DI era is over. No one from your era is relevant. Oh, so now you're a racist piece of shit. History of what? Calling your dancers fat and treating them like shit. Another person said, "I'm on the right side of history." Flop story. It gets worse. Another person said, "Maybe we need to just go back to physical copies and limited editions again. Overconsumption and easy access to shit nowadays. People don't appreciate art no more." I don't know. Um, so besides some of them negative ones, well, that was at least a good positive one. Another person said, "Lizzo, you're just not in demand, baby. We tired of them 'I'm a bad bitch' songs. Personally, never tune into those in the first place." And someone posted, "Not now, Lizzo. We streaming Jade." So, yeah. So that seems to be it. It seems like to me that people are just not feeling Lizzo. So maybe that's why she's flopping. It ain't got nothing to do with the fact that that people don't know that your music is coming out. Maybe the reality is they just don't see it for you. And that's all right. They just don't see it for you though. But I want to hear it from you guys. What do you guys think of this story? Why do you think Lizzo's music is just not resonating with people? Or do you think there is some truth to that maybe the reason why people are just not featuring her or whatever is that they're not featuring it's just they're not featuring her. It's not that it's affecting all these other artists, which to be honest, I think it is affecting all the other artists because algorithms and all this other stuff, and they're saying people are not aware that albums is coming out. I know when albums is coming out because like I said, I have Apple Music, so it lets you know what albums are coming up and all the other stuff. And I put the reminder in, so when the album drops, it's in my history, and I can go right in there and listen to it. So there's ways that you can find out without necessarily having to rely on the social media platforms to know when someone's record is coming out. So I definitely want to hear from you on this matter. What do you think may be the reason behind Lizzo's music not resonating with the people or being aware that it's coming out? So, whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. All right. People under the spectrum can make you vulnerable to exploitation, not understanding finances. It could be that too. It could be the title making it hard to put in the. Oh yeah, it could be that too. It's like when it comes to certain words, I didn't think about that. I was like, yeah, when you say certain words or whatever, you can't. I don't know. The algorithms are real funny when it comes to certain words you can use. So it could be that. It could be the fact you named your album "bitch." So when you call into that, it's like, no, it's not gonna hit like you want it to. There is. You just make sure the celebs you get the star to make sure everything they wait, what? There is. You just make sure the celebs you like get the star to make sure everything they post you see. Or maybe there's that too, is that you have to find ways of making sure that when you're on social media, if you want to know what's going on with your favorite artist, you can pinpoint it in a way that you can get all the stuff. And you can do that on Instagram, where it's like, oh yeah, I want to see everything that this person posts. And then it comes up. She needs to realize she was a fad. Don't nobody mess with you like that, hun. Hollywood used her big self as a prop. Lizzo was the ultimate chop hole. Just hang it up flat screen. He said she's comparing herself to artists that are far more popular than she ever was during her peak and is blaming it on the algorithm. Well, goddamn. I still ain't forget the lawsuit and exposing an Uber driver for so-called stealing your food when he did not. Oh, she did that? I didn't even know about that. Is that it turns out that most people don't want to listen to a rendition of Bitch or What's Going On from an artist that is literally just a blip in a pre-Ozempic time. Oh, well, goddamn. Addison Rae isn't a Kaya, though. Well, look. She, to me, is a Kaya. Well, what? She got her one song, which is Diet Pepsi. I don't listen to her. So to me, she is a Kaya. A one-hit wonder. He said to say Bad Bitch Anthem are tired. Nobody told the gays that. Well, look, I guess when you say it so many damn times, because she do put bad bitch in her songs a lot. We also need to remember that homosexuals are not the only people that listen to female pop artists. Taylor Swift is driven by her female audience, and so is the woman in the next topic. Who's the woman in the next topic? But we're not talking about Taylor Swift. We're just talking about Lizzo and why her music ain't resonating. Who's Lizzo's audience? That's another thing too. I have no idea who's Lizzo. Like Lizzo I feel like she's in the same boat as Megan Trainor. Like who exactly is her audience? Because I don't know black people that listen to Lizzo. And I think it's like the same thing with Megan Trainor. Like who's her audience? I mean, is it gays? Is it girls? Is it kids? Is it I mean, I don't know any black people that listen to Megan Trainor, but yeah, it's like Lizzo. Who is her audience? That's what she need to figure out. Like Slater, I got the soul of a gay man. I think the downfall of Lizzo was when all the social media sites put people on Facebook jail for criticizing her. Excuse me, because Candace said she is banned on Meta because she was offended. Was she offended Lizzo? Well, Candace be saying crazy stuff, and so does Megan Kelly, which we're gonna get into her in this next topic because she had the nerve to come for Miss Olivia Rodrigo. I was like, bitch, stick to the rivers and the lakes that you used to. Now, speaking of that, okay, let's get into this Olivia Rodrigo story. So, Olivia Rodrigo has been performing lately. She's got a new album coming out, and apparently she's being accused of sexualizing infancy, which I'm like, what? What are y'all talking about? Because apparently she wears baby doll dresses, which, Google is free for a lot of you. And also, research will go a long way. Baby doll dresses have been existing since the 90s, like when I was coming up as a kid. And Courtney Love, in my opinion, who was the lead singer of Hole and wife to the late Kurt Cobain, popularized the baby doll dress on stage. I'm sure there were other women that wore baby doll dresses, but when I think of a baby doll dress, I immediately Courtney Love comes to mind because I recall her wearing a lot of them when in the beginning of her career when she was on tour. Not during the celebrity skin era. That's when she decided to get all glammed up and people started to appreciate her more there. Me, I liked Courtney when she was a little messy. I mean, even though the songs were catchier and more pop, but I liked Courtney when she was messy. So Olivia is thrilling fans with her latest music era, but her fashion choices may be striking a sour note. So Rodrigo is the latest Hollywood star to be accused of sexualizing infancy after she donned a baby doll dress on stage. The incident comes just weeks after actress Sydney Sweeney's Euphoria character Cassie Jacobs dressed up as an adult baby on OF in an episode of the hit HBO series, which sparked widespread outrage. You mean fake outrage. Now, Rodrigo was 23, shocked fans over the weekend by performing a show on for Spotify in Barcelona in a lavender baby doll dress and matching bloomers. Well, it's because she lifted up the skirts, you can see the bloomers. Now, not the it's the bloomers for me when they was calling it that, but um now, a video of the former Disney star writhing around. Okay, now y'all with the wording in here is really pissing me off. They were like writhing around suggestively on stage in the outfit has garnered over 23 million impressions on Twitter, with many fans on social media site expressing shock and disgust over her ensemble. Please. Anybody with a social media handle, now you just want to come up here with a fake outrage. Like, come on. Now, they said, why I cannot stress this enough. Why is she dressing like a toddler and touching herself in a sexual manner? Who the hell stands this kind of abhorrent behavior? Does dress like an adult and do it fine, but a child hard fucking pass. Who is this person? I didn't see who this person wrote this. Because I always like to look at people when they make these comments. I'm like, really? With your prudish ass? You probably got a lot of child porn on your damn drive writing that bullshit because y'all be the main ones. And like I already said what I said about the whole baby doll dress before. Now, another person said, for real though, that baby doll ish on a grown woman is straight ick. Looks like she's cosplaying as a kid and it's weird as fuck. Well, she's 23 years old, so technically she is. I mean, yes, legally she's an adult, but she's still, her frontal lobe hasn't been developed yet. So she's still a little kid at heart. But the baby doll dress has been worn by adults in the past. It's nothing new, and it's fashion. It's not like it's a little child up here who's 14 wearing a baby doll dress and writhing suggestively on stage and fingering her vagina. It's not like she's doing any of that stuff on stage. Now, if she was doing that, then we can complain. But y'all come bitching over clothes? Like, what is wrong with y'all? Another person said, we need to stop this infantilism in the media industry. The Cassie act of Euphoria should have been the last straw. Now, despite the backlash, a number of fans also came to Rodrigo's defense, saying it's actually tired that a woman can't even dress like she does or like she likes because people instantly think she's sexualizing herself. The issue isn't Olivia, it's your mindset. You are the problem. You are a pervert. That's your problem alone, argue one fan. That is true because it's like, I never understand like when people look a certain way, people dress a certain way, or people how they choose to express themselves, y'all automatically go into this, oh, they're sexualizing and they're trying to push this thing on the kids. To me, it's like I'm more or less thinking about how you're approaching this and making me look at you sideways over how you're reacting to what a girl is wearing. Because why is this thing why is this something that you're so hell-bent on being caught up in? Now, another wrote, the pearl clutchers melting down over Olivia in a cute floral baby doll dress are the same ones sexualizing everything a young woman wears. It's literally just a dress, not toddler cosplay. Your dirty minds are the problem, not her outfit. Even Rolling Stone defended Rodrigo in a lengthy article, suggesting that the pop star was the victim of a bot coordinated attack designed to manufacture outrage. And as they said, what I've been saying throughout, that one said, they said, wasn't this a style by female fronted bands in the 90s? I believe Courtney Love dressed like this. And to my knowledge, it wasn't a problem. It wasn't at all. Probably because we didn't have social media then and people weren't fucking snowflakes at that time. But what people need to realize when it comes to Olivia takes a lot of inspiration from a lot of the rocker and riot girls of like the 80s and 90s. She's always been inspired by those type of the 70s, the 80s, and 90s. Like she's always been inspired by a lot of the rocker chicks from that time. So yeah, the baby doll dress, I'm sure that she was influenced in a way by Courtney Love because Courtney Love is somebody who that was her signature look back in the day during the grunge era. So they said the Rodrigo controversy comes just weeks after Sweeney shocked Euphoria viewers with her character perform a sexualized adult baby cosplay act on OF. In the disturbing scene, Sweeney wore a sheer pink top that revealed her breasts and a pair of white panties that looked similar to a young child's underwear. Her curly blonde locks were styled into two pigtails while a pink pacifier was placed in her mouth as she spread her legs open. The scene drew the ire of right-wing commentator. Oh, you know, she was probably there in that house masturbating like crazy, rubbing her pussy dry watching that video. But of course, she had to come on her channel and do the fake outrage thing. who eviscerated Sweeney during a rant on her. Okay, then we already know what the Daily Mail gives. We already know y'all give conservative teas. That's why I'm like tackling over some of the words that y'all are using in this whole article. And she's talking about sexualizing infancy. I'm like, sis, no, the man you voted for and you kept making excuses for until recently because you realizing the Titanic is sinking, known as that Trump regime. And now you and Tucker Carlson, all of them, y'all all trying to pretend we were duped. You weren't duped. Y'all were financially benefiting off of what MAGA was doing. And now that you realize that the ship is sinking and the shit has hit the fan and that man's approval ratings are at an all-time low, now you're trying to shift gears and you want to go and try to come off as like this crusader that was led astray. Like, get the fuck out of here with this grifting ass bullshit you doing. And of course, you're going to jump on this when you should be focusing on your own goddamn kids and trying to keep them out the clutches of these damn perverted ass grown ass men. That's what you need to be doing. So, but the whole thing with Cassie on Euphoria, I've heard that there are some OnlyFans content creators who are pissed off about how Cassie's being portrayed on this show because they're saying that, shocker, it's unrealistic. Well, it's not a bio. It's not, I mean, it's not a documentary. So, of course, they're going to take liberties and do whatever. But they were like, well, if you're going to be up in here and promoting someone doing OnlyFans content, or I should, got to choose the words, give it OF content. If you're going to be doing that, you should know that they're extremely strict over there on OF in regards of the type of stuff that you could put on there. I don't think you can do like this whole infant play or whatever the hell it's called on OF. There's a whole lot of loops and hoops and all kinds of things you got to jump through when it depends on the type of content you're going to put on there because they have gotten really strict in regards to the type of stuff you can put over there. So, and then Kelly said that she was shocked that the actress agreed to the sexual content, referencing another scene from the first episode where she was dressed up as a dog and engaging in puppy play. Well, this is what people do in the confines of their homes. And this is what irritates me about a lot of these conservatives. Y'all try to act like y'all are such big ass prudes. We just had Christy Nome husband running around wearing fake titties like he was auditioning for Drag Race while he was running up the credit cards with some cam girls. So y'all trying to sit up here and act like that y'all are holier than thou, that y'all like these upstanding Christian types, but y'all the biggest fucking freaks running. I also like the idea that they decided to make Cassie Republican. That's the irony of it all. And that's probably why you're really mad is, why you mad though? Why you mad though? In the words of Morgan Michaels. That's probably why you're really upset because it's showing that a lot of you Republicans are big ass freaks and some damn hypocrites. So that's the true gag. But in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this faux outrage that's coming from all these people talking about, well, Olivia Rodrigo is wearing a Babydoll dress. She's promoting child porn or whatever this bullshit y'all be pulling out your ass in order to, rage bait everybody on social media. And the whole comment she made about Sydney Sweeney's thing, because I heard, look, I haven't seen Euphoria. I don't even know if I plan on watching this season, but I've been hearing so many things when people talking about this whole season is a chop. That maybe the only reason to watch is for Jacob Elordi. But even in this, and like even Zendaya wants out of this mess. Thank God this is the final season for this show. But yeah. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Whatever your thoughts are on this story, let me know in the comments down below. Rodrigo doesn't have a gay audience, and watching the Billy concert, it was very female led and not a lot of gays. Maybe lesbians, gays, I think, are no longer driving the culture. I don't think that gays have really driven the culture for a long time. I mean, they do behind the scenes. They're the movers and shakers and the creative architects in a lot of ways, especially in the industry. But as far as like the gays on the pulse of what's going on, it's not like how it was when I was growing up. Like when like the litmus test of whether or not gays approved or liked the music, you had to go to the clubs and play the music. They're not really doing that anymore. I know Madonna's still trying to keep that whole old school vibe going with the confessions and going out to the gay establishments and doing that. But it's so many pretentious ass rhymes with maggots running around in the whole nightlife scene now. It's not It's like we didn't pass down that knowledge to the next generation. And maybe the next generation didn't want it, but who knows? But no, Olivia Rodrigo doesn't have a large gay audience. Now that's not saying that no gay boys was at her concert, because I worked 3 out of her 4 shows and there was gay boys at the Olivia concert. There was also some at Billy's concert, but it is a predominantly female driven audience that likes Billie Eilish. And it could be from the fact that it's Billie bi. So, you get a lot of the girls that were showing up that would dress like her with the like very tomboyish with the jersey and the jean shorts and the Jordans and the backwards baseball cap. So there was a lot of the girls that were coming in dressing like Caitlin Clark up in there. Her tall, goofy ass. And I'm talking about Caitlin, not Billy. Not fuck Candace, and trying to frame Macron. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. The whole trans thing, right? Y'all must be getting confused with Melanie Martinez. In regards to what? Age play is a thing and it's a kink for some people, but Olivia was not trying to sexualize anything. Baby doll dress has been around since the 50s. Hmm. Well, the lack of education from Miss Thing, you already know how she is. A lot of these people just run up on here and just rage rate because it's feeding the algorithm. It's algorithm hustling. Word is Taylor Swift is issuing 3 new albums on July 3rd. If those surprise albums are true, so she can make it look. She don't have enough money. The woman is worth a billion, like over $1 billion. She don't have enough money. It's about making kids with a husband. Between her and Travis, they could afford to build their own damn nursery. Yeah, well, good for her and that tight ass wedding. He said Sabrina also wears baby doll dresses, but they're not in the blouse silhouette like Olivia's. People really are perverted and dirty minded seeing a dress, and it's sad. My mom got mad at me once that I wore a satin night, not a satin nightgown, out with heels because it was meant for sleeping, but the girls in the 90s were rocking it with a leather jacket. Yeah, that is true. I mean, y'all forget Madonna wore a nightgown with heels for Versace. And when she did the bedtime story during the bedtime stories era, I think she was at was it Webster Hall or whatever? She wore that. Or even during like the bedtime stories era. Duh. Just said that. So yeah, that was a thing in the 90s. Girls were wearing nightgowns with leather jackets. I do remember that. Wasn't that also Christy Swanson's look in Buffy the Vampire Slayer? That dress did look like a nightgown that she wore to the prom episode or prom scene during the third act. Olivia's baby doll dress also more perfectly styled and clean, unlike Courtney's. Well, Courtney was a grunge singer, and yeah, her clothes was, and it was kind of cool to look a little dirty and like you smelled in those days. It doesn't have the same edgy style that Courtney did, so people associate it as baby clothes. And that's the thing too, is like, back in the 90s was all about being edgy and all this other stuff. A lot of this new generation, they're all about it has to be fashion, it has to be clean, it has to be, perfectly ironed and all this stuff. Like y'all don't really like rough y'all shit up. Addison Ray and Sabrina wore it, but I don't hear them saying nothing about them. But I guess because Olivia's the recent girl, that's somebody to jump on. Billboard said in the podcast, Janet Jackson's career peak in terms of Hot 100 and commercial success was '93's Janet. The Velvet Rope was not radio friendly, where All For You was, but between 9/11. Oh yeah, I remember Halsey did too. Homosexuals are not driving the culture in this current generation of Gen Z pop acts. Addison Rae had mostly homosexual men at her album release party, though, but she's a kind of, well, she is to me. Like you said, the disaster of signing Mariah Carey made Virgin go broke. We know about that story. He said, "I'm so excited for Olivia's new album next month, and you're gonna make fun of me, but just like the Singaporean, I almost cried listening to." Yeah. Well, good for her. It reminded me of the classic Lolita look. That look will never go back. Or no, never go out of style. Britney also marketed to old men because, well, um, the way that they kind of played up Britney as being like this sexualized child, it kind of irritated me the way that they marketed Britney. I just thought it was just gross on Jive's part. The pure sales era has very weird marketing. Well, who's out here doing pure sales? I just saw that Adam Lambert has pure sales already for his CDs for his new album, and somebody you can get autographed copies and all that stuff. I'm glad the clean girl aesthetic is dead down. Now I need some of these girls to get a little, rough around the edges. None of today's generation is edgy, controversial, or trying to piss parents off. Not even just piss parents off, it's just like piss off the establishment. Like, what do you stand for? A lot of these kids don't stand for nothing. No, it just seems like parents are trying to like be as young and free as their kids. Because I see a lot of that at these things. Like some of the clothes the mothers be wearing and the clothes they be letting their daughters wear. I'm like, where's y'all clothes? And sometimes I be looking at some of them coworkers I be having too, like, y'all need to be on the registry. The way y'all be looking at these little girls, I be looking and shaking my head in disgust. I'm like, put some clothes on. I should not see when you walking up the steps your whole ass and you wearing a thong. Lana was doing it too, but she always played into the Lolita look for this set. I always kind of felt like the whole Lolita vibe from her music, like when the way, like some of her songs and stuff too, kind of feels lullaby-ish. That makes sense. Kim Gordon. I haven't heard that name in a month of Sundays. Adam Lambert is still the only openly homosexual act to top the Billboard Top 200. Not even Little Nas X. That's unfortunate. All right, y'all. So how many more topics? Okay, so we got 3 more topics left to go before we are done with today's show. So before we get to those final 3, if you can please do me a solid and hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. We also have super chats, we have super stickers, you can hype the show, you can do all the things to make that numbers up and push the show out there for more eyes and things to get up on this mess of a show. Please and thank you. It has been crazy windy in New York today, and I think it's supposed to rain tomorrow. I don't know if it rained today, but the wind's been crazy. I just wish that we could just have some consistent, nice freaking weather for once. But anyway, enough of me whining about the weather. Let's get back into the rest of the show. And let's talk about Kim Zolciak. So this lady can't stop being caught up in no mess because her new boyfriend, his ex-wife, is basically coming for Kim and is saying like her ex-husband Kyle has been spending lavishly on Kim, and Croy was like, "I done told you this was what she was going to do," and now word on the street is that Croy is messing with the new wife or the ex-wife of Kim's current boyfriend. If I know that's probably like what I know it's a lot, so let's get into this mess. So, the estranged wife of Kim Zolciak's new boyfriend, Kyle Mowitz, claims Kyle is spending lavishly on Kim and her family, including paying legal fees in Kim's divorce from Croy and large payments on Kim's rent. So Kim is a hoe. Like she working hard for the men to do what that's her new big papa. Because she thought she had it with Croy until she bled him dry. Now she moved on to the next, the vampire that moved on to the next person to suck their money and their finances and everything else out of them. So now Kyle Mowitz is apparently spending an out of control amount of cash on his newest leading lady, Real Housewives of Atlanta alum Kim Zolciak. While Kim likely loves this, obviously, um, Jillian Green, his estranged wife, does not. Therefore, Jillian is seeking a court injunction to temper Kyle's spending habits. Kyle filed for divorce from Jillian in March of 2025. He and Kim started dating several months later. Like Kyle, Kim is also waiting through a contentious divorce from her estranged ex, Croy Bierman, so she and Kyle have something in common. The financial positions, however, are vastly different. Kim owes the IRS a substantial amount of cash, as does Croy. Meanwhile, Kyle is a wealthy businessman with a reported multi-billion-dollar portfolio. But according to TMZ, Kyle is spending his fortune on Kim and her family, and she got a lot of damn kids. Jillian believes his spending is out of control. As she recently noted in a new filing, there is every reason to believe the millions of dollars from the business will disappear quickly before their divorce finalizes. As a result, Jillian is seeking an intervention from the court to block his spending habits. Now, Kyle has spent money on trips, wine, an expensive car, and even Kim's legal fees and her rent, Jillian claimed. And moving forward, she believes that Kyle will spend even more on his RHOA love, whom Jillian referred to as his potential future wife. So as Jillian filed, I'm just making sure that was because I was like filed, Kyle needs to place some of his money in an escrow account since she is still owed what she's entitled to in their divorce. So yeah, if there is going to be some sort of a payout or whatever in the divorce, then yeah, it's like, oh, wait a minute now. Now, when this divorce happens, I need my cut. You out here spending all my money on this wig wearing witch, and that's probably what she's thinking. um, and I understand you know you're in the honeymoon phase and you all pussy whoop or whatever because clearly Kim got magical beans in that vagina because she always seems for some reason be able to suck these men into doing whatever she wants them to do in regards to whining and dining and possibly 69ing her. And then after that, once she's bled the well, or, she's bled the well dry, if that is even a term. Once the well no longer has any water to drink from, she done moved on to the next victim or person. So hopefully you're able to work this whole situation out. But I'm not surprised that this is what Kim does. Kim, spreads her legs for men with coins who's going to take care of her, and that's her situation. Hence why she keep getting all this surgery and doing all these different things so that way she can maintain what's little left of her youth. Because I understand you're 47, but if you snatch, you got all the things where you can look fabulous and all those other things, that's great. But at least wait until you get a divorce first before you move on to the next one and start sucking out their money. But like they said before, that apparently this lady who's married to Kyle, Kim's new boo, might be getting a little cozy with Croy. And we've seen this happen before. The two that was over there with that was at what is it, Good Morning America? The two that was there that was messing with each other while they was married to different people. One of them was Andrew Shue. And they decided to hook up, and then Andrew Shue started messing with the ex-wife of the guy that was on Good Morning America. I can't remember their damn names because they're not that damn important. But I just remember the story is similar to that. So y'all are messy. And I guess on this matter, good luck. I guess we could say that. So I want to hear from y'all. What do y'all think about Kim being messy Kim per usual, in the words of Nene Leakes? Close your legs to marry men, which you ain't did a second time, because yes, technically this man is married, and technically you still legally married to Croy. So you ain't closed your legs to this married man who is apparently separated from his wife. I don't give a good goddamn if they live in two different sides of the mansion. He in the east wing, the wife on the west wing. If the divorce ain't finalized, that ain't finalized on that divorce papers, I ain't messing with nobody that's married. But that's just me. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Being in the closet don't count. Have to be out and proud. Ooh. Well, yeah, Elton John didn't come out till years later when it came to him being out of the closet and things of that nature. So there's that. Sidebar, I don't want to watch the music video, but what exactly happened in Harry Styles' new music video that made everyone hate him? No idea, because I haven't watched it either. But I know that because I didn't like this album, so I was like, I just don't care. Because I heard he was wearing a pair of short shorts or whatever, and maybe he's trying to do that to get people to get interested in him. But I'm like, child, you're engaged to Zoe Kravitz. So the queer baiting thing is tired. We know you don't like boys. So unless this is a beard situation, and I don't think that's what it is. So nobody cares. But good luck on your 30-date tour at Madison, residency at Madison Square Garden, because I'm sure I'll be working a bunch of them. But yeah, I didn't watch the video, but I know that Kayla says that how the internet fell out of love with Harry Styles, which I need to check out. Yeah, and I'm like, it's late. What I would have liked would have been if he would have took more of that artistic approach like he did with the first single. If he was doing something like that, I would have liked that. Oh, either his audience grew up and grew out of their celebrity crush, or he just lost his aura and what made him cool in an era where so many male artists make radio bops. He stood out once upon a time. But Sabrina and Billy have also been accused of queer baiting, which is silly because I don't think the term can apply to real people, but rather fictional character from a TV show. No, they say that there's artists out here that do the queer baiting. They feel like Benson Boone does it. They feel like Harry Styles does it. There's a lot of male artists who kind of like do the whole "I'm queer baiting" thing. Yeah, I think I've heard that stuff about Billy being bisexual. Because there was a story that she was in a relationship with a guy, and then she started hooking up with I don't know if it was Cara Delevingne. It was somebody that she was messing around with, some girl. I watched the Kayla Says video, but she didn't actually talk about the music video. Oh, not Macklemore. I mean, here's the thing. I do like the whole idea of Macklemore coming out and speaking out on Palestine and everything, but that's a read if you're getting compared to those two. But yeah, I feel like, well, I don't know. Maybe it would have helped if she would have talked about the music video. But yeah, I didn't watch the music video, but I didn't know there was this big controversy. But except when I saw that video, I'm like, damn, people don't like Harry Styles like that. When did that happen? All right, y'all. So now let's get back into the rest of the show. And let's talk about Margaret Cho. So Margaret Cho recently did an interview with, I think it's called the I Never Liked You podcast, which is co-hosted by Mateo Lane and Nick Smith. And she went on the show and she basically revealed why she turned down being on Heated Rivalry. Now, this was some news to me because I didn't even know that she was going to be on Heated. Excuse me. I didn't even know that she even got offered a part on Heated Rivalry. But she said that the reason why she turned it down has everything to do with this current regime. So, bisexual comedian and actress Margaret Cho has revealed that she turned down a role in the hit queer series Heated Rivalry because she was scared that she would be detained by ICE at the U.S. border for speaking out against the Trump administration. Cho was a guest last week on Mateo Lane and Nick Smith's podcast, I Never Liked You, and she revealed that actions by the Immigration and Customs Enforcement and Border Patrol's office scared her from accepting a part on television's CBS show on ICE, Heated Rivalry, saying, quote, last year I got a script for a pilot script for a show that I really loved, but it's shot in Canada, and I was so scared because I'm so vocal about hating ICE and hating this administration. It was Heated Rivalry. I was like, I will get detained at the border and I will be put in ICE detention if I go, and I was struggling over it. I had to talk to all these people about it, and I was super upset, and I said no. The host gasped and asked if she watched the series despite the disappointment. She said, I watched it. I hosted some rewatch parties, and it kills me. Like, it kills me, and it's all because of Trump. When asked if she might reconsider if she was invited to appear in the upcoming second season, she told the podcasters, I asked them, we'll see. Now, last month, Cho had some choice words for the Trump administration and didn't hold back. She said, they have a king. Their kink is cruelty. This is what she said on another podcast. They love to see the suffering of immigrants and trans people, and they want to put children in concentration camps and poor people. It gets them off. Now, Cho went on to explain why she has faith this is a temporary problem given the pendulum of politics. Well, yeah, it's always going to be temporary with this. The people ain't going put up with this bullshit. That's why they're doing all the crazy stuff that they're doing now, including redistricting, the maps and all the other stuff, so that way they can cheat their way into a win and all this other stuff. Because they know when the midterms comes up, it's curtains for them. So now Cho went on to explain why she has faith in the situation. She said it does swing, and when it swings back, we will punish them. Well, you hope that we will punish them, because we have idiotic centrist Democrats who will go and say, like Obama, we don't look backwards, we look forward. It's like, no, we need to set the example and punish these people. He still was running around in a recent interview that I saw where he's like, we have to reach across the aisle and try to have conversations with them and not belittle. I'm like, no, we're past that. We've tried the whole reach across the aisle, and they're not interested in listening. They want to sit and call names and be negative and do all these other crazy stuff. We see how this whole playbook is being played out. No more Mr. Nice Guy. No more of like trying to reach across the aisle and try to be nice and whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, we're not doing that no more. Now I'm cussing your ass the fuck out and making you feel like the loser that you are. So that's where you have to take it. You can't sit up in here and handle people with fucking kid gloves anymore. So doing this whole shtick, I'm tired of a lot of these when they go low, we go high Democrats keep saying this shit. It's like, no, we have to meet them. We got to be just as petty as they are. That's why I love the fact that with Trump trying to go into Iran and bully them, because that's what he does. He takes his old 380-pound, kingpin sized ass, as in Vincent D'Onofrio over there on Daredevil Kingpin, his wide back, enlarged, funky smelling ass over there to Iran, and wants to bully and tell them, you're gonna open this or else. And then you keep moving the goalposts and all this other stuff. And then Iran's like, we're not going to be intimidated by you. And they're giving him a taste of his own medicine, and he can't take it. Even his own party of morons like Megyn Kelly has been saying stuff like this. So I'm not just pulling stuff out of my ass. Now, when the people on the other side are starting to say the same thing, that is a reason to worry. So she said they will be put in prison. We cannot let up. Well, hopefully that from your mouth to God's ears, I hope that happens, but I doubt it. I just don't have faith in these corporate centrist Democrats, these diet MAGA, because that's what they are to me. Now, Cho continued with the theme about imprisoning White House officials, whether when their terms ends, but also called out her fellow Democrats too, for an overemphasis on, as she puts it, taking the high road in decorum, which is literally what I just said. She said, I want to believe in Democrats. I'm a Democrat, but I also feel like there's this weird attachment to decorum and taking the high road, and none of that is going to work. We need somebody. We need a feral, bloodthirsty, violent Democrat. Like, we just need somebody who is willing to put them all in prison and, do the right thing and put them all in prison. Now, this is not a new thing for Cho, who delivered her own State of the Union video address in 2017, advising viewers on how to survive what turned out to be the first Trump administration through art and protest. Or if you want to listen to RuPaul, just go and start dancing or playing games. That's what he wants y'all to do. Now, on a podcast in March, Cho revealed she was asked several times to be on Trump's reality show, The Apprentice, saying Donald Trump really loves you. Please come on, she recalled in her conversation with host Julia Cunningham. She said no, despite being told Trump was a big fan of hers. Now, I want to see the I never liked you podcast, whatever. I guess you can go on YouTube and look it up. But I do agree with her with that. But we do need a feral, somebody who's like, take no prisoners, got a backbone, a spine, whatever you want to call it. That's the type of Democrat you need to go fight with them. Gone are the days of when they go low, we go high. You got to literally, when they go low, I'm going and dancing around the fiery pits of hell. That's how deep you got to go with this shit. Gone are the days when we had to sit and look the other way, be, demure and mindful and have all that crap. It's like, no, we can't do that no more. You got to be just as much of an asshole and ruthless as they are, or they pretend to be. So Shout out to you, Margaret. It's unfortunate we didn't get to see you on Heat of Rivalry. It'd been interesting to see what type of character that you were supposed to go up for. Because off the top of my head, because it's been a minute since I've seen Heat of Rivalry, it was like 6 episodes, came and went in my mind. So it'd be interesting to see who she would have been up for. And that would have been a good question because I didn't see the interview. So I don't know if they asked her. It's been interesting if they would ask, well, who was the person the character that they were going to offer you that you turned down? I would have loved for them to elaborate on that. Would you have played Hudson Williams' mother? Because Hudson Williams' character on the show, Shane, he is part Asian. So I'd have been like, is that who they wanted you to play? Maybe Shane's mother? So because on the show, I believe he is half Japanese. In real life, he's Korean, half Korean, but I think on the show he's half Japanese. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Whatever your thoughts on this matter, let me know in the comments down below. I'm this close to reading Heated Rivalry. I found a free version of the audiobook. I'm about to give my homosexual athlete, not live your homosexual athlete fantasy. The prologue in the book is long as. Have you gotten a chance to see the Jellicle Ball yet? I want to so bad. I have not gotten around to seeing it. I remember I was talking to a friend of mine. I think he went back to LA because he's gonna be doing stuff out there. But we did have a conversation about that we want to get tickets to go see it. So I definitely want to go see the Jellicle Ball. I definitely want to go see Rocky Horror because I want to see Luke Evans and that bulge all up in my face. So yeah, I want to go. I want to see all of that because Broadway is gay again. So I definitely want to go see a couple of these shows before they leave. Oh, that's nice. I can't stand Jimmy Fallon, but I watch it. And I can't. You want to know something? Shout out to the MLVC podcast. I was watching it yesterday because Stefan was on there, and oh my god, I forgot the other guy's name. It was only 2 of them on there out of the 4 because normally they do 4, but it was him and the other guy on there, and they were talking about the Madonna announcement and all the other stuff regarding you know the um the Tribeca thing that she's gonna be doing with the show, which is literally I didn't even know all the details. It's 10 minutes, and I think we'll probably get the full video for the song "Bring Your Love," but everything else is just like snippets of the songs we will be hearing throughout the video, which I actually think is a good idea because I thought we was gonna get all the songs. It was just gonna be one long form film, which I thought was relatively interesting. But if it's going to be, we're going to get sequences or snippets of the song throughout the big long form video, I actually think that's a really interesting idea that she's doing that. But anyway, he brought up the fact he felt the same way I felt when when Stefan mentioned Jimmy Fallon. Oh, I remember it's Ben. So Ben is always the funny, sassy one on there. That's why I like him. So when Stefan mentioned that Jimmy Fallon was going to be doing the whole moderation, he made the same face. I was like, we don't like him, but we get it. He's a fan, a little too much of a fan. But it's just the baby rump kissing approach that he brings to it just kind of turns me off. My 11-year-old sister was, my little baby sister can do it with ease. And no, I was, so come on and do the locomotion with me. You gotta swing your hips now. He said my 11-year-old sister was repairing TikToks about the show, but let me mind my business. Oh, you said reposting. That's what I think you meant. Oh, wait, your sister was watching Heat of Rivalry? She also really likes Conan Gray, like obsessed with him. I never used the word, but she literally a hag in training. Well, a lot of the little girls, they love the gay boys. Right-wing people are making Elliot Page a target. Why? Because she's playing in the Odyssey. They're going after her, and they're going after Lupita Nyong'o because Lupita's playing 2 parts. She is playing Helen of Troy, and she's playing another character. And they're like, well, it's not historically accurate. It was like, eat a dick. Apparently, Christopher Nolan had to hire extra security on set to make sure that Elliot is super safe because Newsmax doxed filming locations. Well, whatever. First of all, these people want to get thrown in jail or shot on site. Then go ahead and pick on somebody for being trans. A sixth grader watching Hero. No, that's what I said. That show you should not be watching that, especially with what's his name? When you see Connor's story with all that ass, that should be an NSFW all by itself. And that was funny when people was talking about Heated Rivalry, especially like at the Adult Cinematography Awards, the Gavians. All the men was lusting over Connor's butt. I'm like, yeah, it's a big old ass. You said yours and the MLVC podcast are two of the most authentically queer shows out there. Well, thank you. I think that was the goal that I was going for. It was like doing an authentically queer show because we have no shade, but too many. I feel like we have way too many gay podcasters who don't make content for the queer community. They're so busy wanting to, and then don't get me wrong. I'll be up in here talking about the divas and stuff too. Like I'll talk about the Cardis and the Nickis and the Madonnas and the Beyoncés and all of that, like all the other gay boys do. However, I feel like a lot of times when it comes to queer content creators, y'all make stuff to get the women to come over and watch y'all stuff. I'm well aware that I do have women watching my show, but I also know that I have a lot of gay men that watch my show as well. So I always try to appeal to all the demographics, male and female meaning, because I know this is an age restricted show and an age restricted channel, so kids can't be watching this. So when I was in the sixth grade, I was watching Gaga have three ways on America. Well, look, we was all out here watching things we wasn't supposed to be watching when we was younger. That's like when you hear stories of people say, "I had to sneak and watch Noah's Ark or Queer as Folk and all those other shows growing up." Me, since I was already out of the closet, I could sit at home and record Queer as Folk on my family's cable box and watch it whenever I can get around it, and it was still up there. You're definitely more entertaining than funky, Craig. Well, thank you, but I'm gonna sit to that. um, Funky, I think, just came back from his cruise ship. And Craig the writer, we haven't heard from him in a while because I think Maddie been out here real busy. I know she's still doing her Outlaws podcast and doing a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, I don't really be paying attention to the other YouTubers like that. I'm so engulfed in what's going on in the political landscape. I just don't be having time, nor do I care to even look at other YouTubers with their pop culture stuff. And then I watch a lot of and I never realized this until YouTube reminded me. I watch a lot of reaction videos. Like reaction videos to like movie trailers or music videos and stuff or songs. Like Steven in Stereo. I like him a lot. He does a lot of reaction videos to a lot of artists. I do wonder if he's a part of the community because I'm like, I would totally hit that. He just seems like very positive and stuff. And I like all the tattoos and the fact that he looks like this rocker dude that just likes a lot of, he likes Slater. He likes the new Adam Lambert single. He's reacted to Jade. He reacts to a lot of artists. I wonder how they get around that though, because a lot of people that do these reaction videos, I don't think you can monetize that stuff on YouTube. But anyway. So now that we got all that out of the way, you can keep the comments coming, but let's get into our final topic. And let's talk about RuPaul, who's getting dragged on social media. Well, she got some people that agree with her and some people that disagree. But for the most part, RuPaul is a little tone deaf when it comes to giving their, commentary on advice on how to stand up against fascism. So Mama Ru was on social media. I think it was on his Instagram, also was on Twitter. I do have that clip. I want y'all to hear what Miss Thing had to say, and then we'll get into the thing. But hold on. But first, it said RuPaul divided fans after posting an Instagram video about the political climate in America, in which he said that fascism is back and suggested the only thing we can do is to party and dance. So, is this like you letting us know you coming out with a new dance album? Because that's all you made. I always find it funny when it comes to the roast, they always talk about his song and the auto tune. But anyway, let's get into the clip. We'll come back and talk. Please hold.
There is no easy fix. We are talking 45 years of undereducation in this country when they started defunding educational programs in schools and everything. So when you talk about rational thinking or critical thinking, who would you be talking to? Because most of the population don't know how to do that. They weren't taught how to do that. They believe in superstition and fairy tales. So the bad guys win. They won. You know, fascism is back. Yay! I mean, at this point, the only thing we can do, our only comeuppance, is to party and dance and have fun and laugh and let's play games, because they got what they wanted, man. They got it. Well, they got it. So I'm going to be dancing. I'm going to be having some fun. Join me.
Well, good for you, niece. I mean, look, two things can be true at the same time. You can be out there and party and have a good time and all that other stuff, but I also believe that you can take that time and inform yourself on what's going on in the world. Why can't you do that? Because just to sit up and like, oh yeah, they won. So just give up. Throw your head in the sand. Accept defeat. No, that's what they want you to do while they gut health care, while many people, especially because of the whole DEI situation, many Black women have lost their federal jobs because of the whole how they've weaponized DEI and made sure to fire all the Black people, but give all of Trump's cronies and all these incompetent ass people who don't know what the fuck they're doing all the jobs that they shouldn't even be, that they have no experience in doing. And then we have groceries is going up, oil is going up. They're building data centers all over the place. I'm hearing they're trying to build data centers out in New Jersey now. And it's affecting, of course, the water supply. The energy is all getting messed up. Like there's so many things that's happening in this world all at once right now. And we're all just fighting amongst each other when we need to be fighting the real enemy, and that's the 1%. If you just sit up here, you know what? Let's just give up and dance and let's get like Britney Spears and put on some fucking bloomers and twirl around in our fucking house on Instagram. Let's all do that. Let's just give up. So you like staying up in your, because I heard like what RuPaul's probably worth over $60 million. So it's not going to affect you. And this, of course, would be the advice that you would give, because at the end of the day, your boss is David Ellison, who owns Paramount. So you don't want to tell people to get out there and fight and go against the establishment when he is the problem. He's friends with Trump, going against them, and that's probably going to affect the future of Drag Race. So I feel like you say all of that is you worrying about your bottom line being affected. So this pissed me off, of course, as you can tell from my tone. But hold on, let me close this so that way, because I know there's child, they went in on this thing in the comments. So let's get into it. So they said the post, of course, prompted thousands of comments with reactions ranging from praise and for queer joy as a resistance to criticism that RuPaul should be doing more given his wealth and influence. Now, one supportive comment read, "Queer joy has always been an act of resistance. Protect that joy as if your life depends on it, because it does." A critical comment said, "I get what you're trying to say, but as a multimillionaire, there are a lot more you could do to fight fascism." And remember, once upon a time, before you was a multimillionaire, you were someone who was an activist. You got into the whole fighting against the establishment and getting into queer rights and all that other stuff. You were doing all those things. But I guess now, because you're a part of the 1%, now your tune has changed. So now posts and reposts of the video circulated widely on Twitter, with users arguing over whether party and dance, at least he didn't say party and play, was a call to stay visible and joyful, or a complacent response to a serious threat, saying, "We will join you. Invite us to your house, mother. We can dance together under the disco ball." Yeah, she ain't inviting you to her house. RuPaul for president 2020. No, we good. Y'all need to do better than some damn RuPaul, and you also need to do better than some damn Gavin Newsom. Now, other people pointed out the history of queer people partying in the face of oppression and the power of queer joy, saying queer joy has always been an act of resistance. Protect that joy as if your life depends on it, because it does. Now, others push back, arguing that joy cannot be the only response. One person by the name of Call Me Fag said, I get what you're trying to say, but as a multimillionaire, there's a lot more you can do to fight fascism. Another person responded to Call Me Fat by saying he literally started a company that sells banned books during the fascist era we're all living in while being an LGBT icon, bringing joy and hope to the community for decades. There are also some problematic books. People have said that book club is selling. So there's been a little issue with that whole book club that you over here praising. So then someone said to call me fag. I think they're Jorge Adventures. Said as an open gay black man, by him just breathing and giving space for all queers, especially queers of color, he's doing a lot more than most. Okay, just existing is not enough. Just showing your face is not enough. And that's what it seems like y'all trying to say. Oh, well, just him showing his face, that's not enough though. You got a mouth that goes with that appearance as well. Use it wisely. Now, Chimera said, fascism has won and all we can do is party and have fun. If you were wondering why the politics of Drag Race always felt so vapid, the host is a rich liberal who'd have you go down without a fight in the face of fascism. Queer people deserve better idols than this. So that's one person that wasn't feeling it. Another person, Good Night Big One, said, I don't know, I don't even know where to start. And did a sad face emoji. Confirm Your Name said saying fascism one and then saying what we should which we should do against it is to party, dance, and play games. You can tell he is not from our generation. And Slang Wayne said love Rue, but isn't going out and dancing and being fabulous exactly what they did in Weimar, Germany? How did that turn out? Well, I don't know about the history of Germany. I'd have to look into that. But and then kudos for sharing said the woke children don't understand that joy is part of okay, suck my ass with the whole woke children bullshit. Now there were some other people famous in the drag world who spoke out and pushed back against what Rue was saying, one of them being Luscious Massacre, who allegedly charges $10,000 for appearances when girl, you were 5. She said Luscious Massacre also weighed in, agreeing that protecting joy matters, but urging people to take further action, saying, yes, we must party and dance and never allow them to take away our joy, but that's not all we must do. We must also fight, not with violence, but we must push back at every turn, and we have to learn to defend ourselves. We must protect ourselves. No one is coming to save us. We're going to have to save ourselves. And that's been the overall situation. I think that is the point that we've all been talking about. You can't depend on the government and everybody to save you. We're the ones who have always had to rise up against the 1%, the establishment, in order to provoke change. And then the politicians who want their little moment in their jobs or whatever the case is, and they slither their way in and want to be like, yeah, I want to fight with the people. But it's always the people that have always risen up at the end of the day. And you would think that, Pee Wee Herman in Quentin Crisp hat would have known better in saying and spewing this bullshit for y'all. Now, the one that really went in is Lady Bunny. And this is a long one, so bear with me. So this is what Lady Bunny said on her Facebook page. She said, the Empress of Emptiness strikes again. Rue declares that fascism has won, and his answer, our only comeuppance is to party and dance, it says, not to organize, not which principles to organize around, and not who to vote for to ward off fascism. This is Met Gala attendee level of clueless, a rich virtue signaling liberal doing what they do best, saying something which sounds good, but which accomplishes zero. Rue and I started our club careers together as AIDS was also getting its start. So Rue knows what activism is. It's ACT UP organizing a die-in outside St. Patrick's because a bishop lied to say that condoms don't protect you from HIV transmission. It's organizers trying to get AIDS meds approved while their community is dying. The idea that you'd fight fascism with dancing is a slap in activists' faces. While queer joy is important, it has no clear goals. Joy can refuel you for the fight, but what fight? You'd never know Rue. You never know from Rue, probably because concrete solutions would alienate some of his fans. I've been that bitch. Guess I love the drama. Fishy, feminine, up and comer from the Clintons to Obamas. Call me mother. Yeah, he used the lyrics from Call Me Mother up in there. Rue complains about the death of critical thinking, yet he isn't able to connect do-nothing centrist Dems helping usher in fascism. Rue lyrically boosts the Clintons and Obama, who honest, informed people denounce as sellout war criminals. Nor is Rue able to call out pre-Trump aspects of fascism. The pattern of feckless liberals getting fascists elected is well established in history. It was a factor in the rise of Hitler. Now, did you know that one symptom of fascism is government uniting with corporations? Harris used Drag Race setup as a campaign stop, and her only ideology is serving corporate donors. Another symptom of it: corrupt politicians enriching themselves. Nancy Pelosi, a former judge on well, she was on there twice. There's another symptom: disdain for human rights, which all Dem leaders showed by funding Israel's attack on Gaza and beyond. Not to mention that Paramount Plus is, I said this, is owned by billionaire Zio, Larry Ellison, a friend of slash donor to far-right fascist Netanyahu, also a big Trump donor, whose goal is to give Israel and right-wing values favorable coverage on TV. Now, Ellison's pushing for a merger with Warner Brothers, which could give him CNN and HBO, along with CBS, Paramount, and more, which he already owns. So Drag Race partners with fascists while Rue complains about them. Practice what you preach, Mary. And that was a lot. I told it was going to be a lot. So Miss Thing went in. But, and I had to write like a long little thing about how I felt about Rue. So I'm going to just read y'all what I wrote. Read you wrote too. This is like in my article that I wrote this. So I wrote, I have been a fan of Rue ever since I saw him on shows like Geraldo and Ricky Lake back in the day. I've always admired a statuesque drag queen who is able to push his way into the mainstream at a time in the 90s when it wasn't acceptable to be an openly queer person of color. I even love how a strong queen, how as a drag queen, he was able to create an empire that helped make drag a global phenomenon. So hearing RuPaul say some capitalistic bullshit like this when people should be fighting against the establishment now more than ever is why I no longer have any respect for him. This lazy let him eat cake answer to dealing with fascism ain't it. Giving up and accepting defeat is not an answer. It might be for centrist Dems, who could give a shit about whether they win or lose as long as they get to keep their positions, especially when you were an activist before Supermodel catapulted you to the mainstream. I guess this would be your solution when you've got Larry and David Ellison as your boss over at Paramount. And if you really tell your viewers to fight the real enemy, which would be Trump regime and tech oligarchs, that would affect the future of Drag Race and your wallet. What Mama Ru needs to do is figure out why the last few seasons of Drag Race have been an absolute chop, why Paramount has been cutting the budget on them Drag Race red carpet premieres, and speak less on politics if all you're going to do is provide is a bunch of hot air. So that's my overall thoughts on this matter. Excuse me. It's said that this is like, a bunch of do nothing, whatever. And everyone, well, it was all about dancing and things. And people did that back in the day. Maybe in like the Disney 5 version of your activism that you think was going down, there wasn't just dancing and showing visibility. Queer people were out there in the streets fighting during the time of the AIDS Holocaust and all that other stuff that was going on. They were out there in the streets putting their lives on the line so that way queer people can live comfortably as they are today. Now we're seeing the clock is being rewound back, and we're still having to deal with some of the stuff that we thought that our queer ancestors fought so hard and for us to not have to go through in the 70s and 80s and beyond. So it's unfortunate this is the stance that Rue took, but why is anybody surprised? So yeah, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding Rue's tone-deaf advice about partying and dancing in the time of fascism and how all of our rights are slowly being taken away? But this is your solution. I guess your other solution will go see that horrible ass looking movie, Stop That Train, which I think is going to flop. And I'm not saying that just because of this situation. I've always kind of felt like seeing the trailers and everything. I'm like, nah, this shit should have went straight to Paramount Plus. But let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I forgot to add, they did mention a lot of, there was a lot of people that went on the comments on his Instagram as well. It was very divisive over there. Now, who was he talking to? Remember when people called him out on not speaking on Black Lives Matter years ago? He's always seemed pretentious and above his own people. I don't know if it's because he's rich, but he's far from the activist he once. Well, it might be. I think it has to do with a lot of. Now he's on the other side of capitalism. He's financially set, and all he cares about is winning Emmys, and which now the Traders is winning all of them. And so he just blows up. He just says all this crap. Not to be rude, but if it's any moderate left, kiss the Gen Z vote goodbye. Trust and believe they're tired of not being taken seriously. The ignorance of saying Gaza doesn't affect the U.S. is one. Well, look, that's why they all trying to just buy up all our media so they can lie to the people. And even TikTok's a mess. I wouldn't even vote for Vance either. Vance is basically a blank canvas for Peter Thiel and the rest of the Silicon Valley tech bros. That's who he's come to, and that was one of the reasons why Peter Thiel and them forced Trump to pick him as his VP. But I get what you're saying. You're saying that you would vote for him, but Gavin Newsom's him with this whole fake, pretentious, anti-Trump rants that he does, and it's like, okay, but you going and throwing little shady reads, it's not enough. Have they watched the videos? A lot of youth want to unalive themselves because it's not getting better. That's what we need. It gets better for this generation. RuPaul is being criticized by people who believe that sending mean tweets to queer icons is bona fide offensive. I will never vote Republican as a gay man. That's social life, death, and sex life, death. Yes, politics does affect that. AOC is leading Democrats in presidential polls, and Rubio needs to lay off that booger sugar, allegedly. I don't know. AOC kind of rubs me the wrong way. I used to like her in the beginning, but there's certain things regarding some of her policies that have kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So I feel because her boss is closer to MAGA, she really can't speak up. She'll lose the show. If Paramount decides to cancel Drag Race, RuPaul loses the entire franchise. I mean, it is World of Wonder, but I guess, at the end of the day, they did sell it to Viacom. So the licensing and everything, it's still under them. So it could be a lot, and that could be it too. Well, look, and that's the case. If it comes down to it, you couldn't have just not said anything at all. I got to choose my words carefully because I don't want it to affect me doing Drag Race. I'm not voting for AOC, and I'm definitely not voting for the self-hating Latino. Are you talking about Marco Rubio? Did I ever tell you that I cried out of stress in my car because I didn't want to vote for Kamala, but still did? No, I don't think you did. It's like, I got to vote for somebody. Shit, you should have just voted for Jill Stein. That would have probably eased your conscience. I just wanted Andy Bashir. I'm trying to remember, who is that? The name does sound familiar. All right, y'all. So it looks like we are at the end of today's show. I want to thank you all for tuning in for the latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Please hit that like button, that subscribe, smash the notification bell, hype it, share it, do all those things. Oh, you said he's the governor of Kentucky. Okay. So, yeah. So thank you all for tuning in. I won't be on tomorrow. I will be back on Friday, Lord willing, with a new episode because I'm going to be busy this weekend. But because Sunday, I don't know. I got to figure out what's going on with that because depending on the situation, I may be working on Sunday because I am working Sunday anyway because the Mets and the Yankees are playing at Citi Field. But after that, there could be a game at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks will be playing a game because we got to wait to see who wins the other side of the tournament that will be going up against the Knicks or whatever. So It's gonna be a crazy, unassured weekend. But that's good because, today was a slow news day, even though I found ways to make today's show entertaining with some of the topics. But yeah, maybe taking a day off will, flood the algorithm with some entertaining stuff. But in the meantime, love you all for watching. Ciao. That's not gonna happen. I don't even think Tyler Rico would do that. But anyway, so yeah, love you all for watching. Thank you for your continued support. And until next time, ciao, darlings.